Finally, Ethan Warren gives him no space. Oh, he's sideways. Very, very sideways. Very good evening to you, wherever you're watching around the country or indeed the world. It's been a good night so far because I remember to press play. It is the third round of the Automobilista Supercars Championship. My name is Alistair Schmidt. You probably know me more commonly as Stairs, and I'm joined by Liam Harrison, who is more commonly known as Madbird.
The common South Australian Madbird is me. We are here at Symmons Plains, the tiny little bull ring in Tasmania, where we usually see quite a bit of action, especially around here at this hairpin, is never short of some drama during the race, and I'm very much looking forward to this, Dance.
I'm very much looking forward to it as well. But looking backward just for a moment, here is a look at the points classification heading into this round. It's Kurt Stenberg taking the early lead in this championship, and a fairly close tussle behind him with Colin, Warwick, Luke Rosella and Zach Baker. In fact, Sean Allen as well. They're only separated by just a handful of positions worth in points. Then there's Benjamin Dahlia in sixth behind him, Lachlan Burke, and then we've got Brodie Steen, Alex Cuttle and RSM Latino rounding out the top 10 for the drivers' points classification. And then moving on into the teams' points classification, Madbird.
Yeah, Race on Oz with a bit of a commanding lead there over ZB Racing. The two main two-car teams that we're aware of, about 100 points between the two of them, 150 points. With Black Shores Racing in third, the Satellite Race on Oz 2 team in fourth, Synergy Sim Racing 1 in fifth, Trans-Tasman down in sixth, with obviously just being Kurt Stenberg in that team. All Australian Races in seventh, Black Shores RSM Racing, which is, you know, distinct from Black Shores Racing in eighth, and a couple of others rounding out the top 10.
Very much so. Let's head to the on-track action as it stands. We are in a practice session, just 10 minutes between qualifying and the current moment that we are experiencing. That's a strange way of saying that, but Kurt Stenberg and Colin Warwick at the top in the practice session, so that pretty much mirrors the point standings that we just looked at. So it's looking like it might be a good year for Kurt Stenberg. The curse of the number one is no longer applicable, as he doesn't have the number one anymore, as the champion from last year was Dane Warren, and Dane Warren we haven't seen too much of, if any, this year.
So far, yeah. Someone that did just appear, who we know is bloody quick, is Jake Maloney. See if he decides to qualify this time around. No Luke Rosella yet, who is third in the standings at the moment. So it's a good opportunity for some of the drivers in fourth and fifth, like the Sean Allens of this world, to make up some positions if he does not appear tonight.
And actually Jake Maloney racing for Trans-Tasman Racing as well, so not just Kurt Stenberg from that point of view, but...
I don't think Jake Maloney actually finished a race last round, is why he hasn't received any points.
Yes. Well, that generally is the reason why you haven't got any points, is because you haven't finished high enough in the race to earn any, and because points in the Supercars Championships goes all the way down to 26th place, basically anyone who finishes the race does get points.
Well, exactly. Dane Liccardo has also appeared, so we're getting a few extra people. We've just seen Brandon Dostal, not a name I'm familiar with, go off, coming down the start-finish straight by the looks of it. Got very close to the edge of the track and then just,
That's a strange place to lose it there. Must have just lost it on the bump. Too much steering angle, perhaps?
And then straight into the barrier just at the end of turn one, so...
That was a strange one.
Hope that won't happen in the race for him. As we see Jake Maloney setting some laps, getting some track experience under his belt. Not that he seems to need any of that. He's usually pretty bloody quick at any track that we attend, and seems to enjoy making a game of starting from the back of the grid and seeing how long it takes for him to get up towards the pointy end.
Oh, We just had this is another one of the new faces today that we haven't seen in the ASC Championship for a while, but he's just had a massive spin. This is Kai Ardley, and let's see what happened. It looked like there might have been another car involved in that incident. So he's coming down this turn 5. No, it looks like he's being distracted by something. That's very much an own goal. Perhaps he's picking up his headphones.
Perhaps, or trying to open his water bottle between his legs, as another driver we're aware of once had a huge accident occur as a result of. Zach Baker currently at the top of the timing sheets, because it looks like Kurt Stenberg's actually dropped out of the server, but he has jumped ahead of Colin Warwick to take that provisional pole in this practice session. So good pace from the ZB racer so far.
Another Kai in this server is Kai Jones. We're looking at him there, just looks like he's getting out of the way for a bit of traffic perhaps, to find himself some clear track. So 2 Kais tonight.
Once bitten, twice Kai.
Ghastly.
I think that's maybe a time. No, that's probably fair.
And then quite a few other names that we are very familiar with, as we can see there, Zach Baker going to the top. So
Colin Warwick in a new car.
Kurt Stenberg has dropped out of the session just temporarily, perhaps to reset something. So that would be why he's no longer there at the top of the timesheets.
Would I be right in saying that this is a new car for Colin Warwick? I don't remember it being quite so colourful last time around.
It was new in round 1.
Ah, very good.
So the sponsorship there from his mum, Canteen.
Oh yeah. Does she work in a canteen?
I believe so.
Very good.
At a correctional facility, if I'm not mistaken. I'm sure Colin Warwick will set the record straight if I'm incorrect, but I believe I heard him say that on the Super 2 broadcast a couple of rounds ago.
Oh, how interesting. That'd be an interesting job. I don't doubt. As Kurt Stenberg has jumped back into the server, Colin Warwick has actually taken pole with that lap we just saw.
Nice job.
Pushing Zach Baker down into 3rd. So it's looking like we've got some pretty good pace out there tonight. The top 10 covered by just a second.
Oh, big spin there for Dane Liccardo. Lit up the rears on the exit of the hairpin. And that's a new livery for Dane Liccardo. We saw him in the first round at Bathurst, racing for All Australian Races. It's my understanding that there was a bit of a falling out, perhaps in relation to that incident where he completely destroyed Zach Baker's race, I believe it was. Actually, sorry, it was David Nenadich. I don't know if you remember seeing the replays of that incident with Lewis Wedding and Dane Liccardo.
I do, and I remember Michael Zalavari, our esteemed co-commentator, saying that he had nothing to say in support of Dane Liccardo following that incident.
Absolutely. But Dane Liccardo, well, you know, you're only as good as your last race. And so I'm sure he'll be looking to set the record straight tonight with a much better performance. So he's now racing for Mute Sim Sports in that number 35 Mustang.
Very good, as he slides out of view. Back to Colin Warwick, who's put it back onto pole. Oh no, never mind, he was already there. I am mistaken. Although he did just improve his lap time once again, so he's looking pretty racy, is Colin Warwick. He's been sort of up there and thereabouts over the last few rounds, and he does improve his lap time. A 51.2. God, this is a short racetrack. He has sort of been up there and threatening in the podium positions, so this is looking very good for him if he manages to carry this pace forward into the qualifying and the race.
Geez, we're very close to the record sort of times set in 2019. That's the last time we went to this circuit. Actually, sorry, I think we did go here last year. I'm starting to forget what happened last year, because we did follow the original calendar for a few rounds and then we switched to the COVID calendar, and the COVID calendar didn't visit Symmons Plains. But the records from 2019 stand, and 51.095 is the qualifying record set by Jake Maloney in 2019.
Assuming we didn't visit Symmons Plains because, every single citizen of Tasmania was standing on the shores of their beautiful island with pointy sticks at that stage in the COVID pandemic. And if anybody, so much sneezed in their direction, they were directing live gunfire in their direction. So They were pretty serious about their pandemic, was Tasmania, an island amongst an island nation.
So were we. So were WA.
So, yeah, other states less so. Sean Allen on the screen, currently down in 12th, but we expect that he will be much higher than that come the race itself.
Very much out of position, isn't he?
Mm.
We've also got Benjamin Dahlia there in the Race on Oz Young Lions car with the green livery. Looks, I mean, I like the Race on Oz livery, but it's always interesting to see it with a different colour scheme, and it sort of changes it up. Benjamin Dahlia, a young hot shot from Super 2 last year.
I always liked Alex Cattle's Race on Oz livery, the red and white one. I'm not sure if he is currently out there. So
and he is actually running that same livery still.
Perfect.
There it is.
Just a little bit more aggressive looking than the standard one, I think.
I believe our friend and colleague Michael Zalavari said that it was kind of like the traffic lights for their liveries, the red, yellow, and green.
Oh, I like it. That's very, very good. So in that instance, Alex Cattle would be expected to stop, but he's actually been quite pacey so far this season. Mr. Walshy just saying in chat, best track south of the equator. That might be stretching it just a tiny bit.
Who said that? Mr. Walshy.
Mr. Walshy.
I do believe he's one of the men with pointed sticks that you referred to earlier.
Ah, very good.
In the great state of Tasmania.
And our friend Brenton Foley saying, is that because the only weapons Tasmanians can make are pointy sticks? I kid, Simmons is a great track, he says, not referring to whether Tasmanians are smart enough to do more than sharpen a stick, which he leaves to go through to the keeper to steal a stairsism. Stairsism doesn't really roll off the tongue. I've got to figure out.
No, it doesn't.
Got to figure out a better term for the things that you say.
This is Brap.
So it is. With a 0? Is that a number 0, I believe?
Looks like a 1 on the side of the door there. Which he hasn't earned as champion from last year, as we mentioned before. The champion from last year is Dane Warren.
Where are you seeing a 1?
On the door.
No, that's a 0.
Oh! I thought it was like a box with a 1 inside it.
No, it's a 0. And
I was so confused why it would have a 0 on the windscreen and a 1 on the door, but like, you know how they put like the old-timey numbers, they just have like a white thing with a number inside it?
Yes, okay, I get you.
I bet you can't unsee that now.
I can quite easily.
Okay. I'm struggling to unsee it.
That's fine.
I'm very much an idiot.
To go through to the keeper, bloody Nickelback, says Brenton Foley. I agree.
Why are we talking about Nickelback?
Who needs them? Ruined a fantastic night of Rocket League. But anyway, we have just ticked over to 0 minutes, 0 seconds, and indeed 0 hours.
And we're looking at the car number 0.
We are. There's a lot of zeros on our screen. But what isn't 0 is my excitement factor, Stairs. My excitement factor is going off the bloody charts.
Well, the other thing that's going off the charts is my tannins. But enough about that. The other thing that we should
kind of winds this then
is talk about the format for tonight. We've got 3 races tonight, which we've got a compulsory pit stop for all 3, and the pit stop will have to be taken between laps 1 and 18. So no cheeky pit stops during the formation laps, and no pit stops after lap 18.
Yeah, just in case someone was thinking to fuel up almost to the end and then just do a cheeky splash and dash right at the very tail end of the race. Unable to do that. This is the racetrack, Symmons Plains Raceway, 2.14 kilometres, very, very short, with the qualifying record set by Jake Maloney the last time we came here in 2019, a 51.095, a very short lap here around Symmons Plains, and the race lap record held by Jake Maloney as well with a 51.225, so only about 2/10 difference in the pole position and race lap record times. Previous pole sitters both taken by Jake Maloney, who is here tonight. So let's see if he can manage to keep that qualifying record going. Although he hasn't been a big fan of qualifying as of the last couple of seasons. So perhaps he won't bother. Everyone poking their noses out to the pit lane.
Yes, this is what we do at the beginning of qualifying. Is all the cars come out of the garage at a 45-degree angle.
It's very specific. Some further into the pit lane than others, I notice. The
Well,
two race
they can't
honours
see
ones
it.
look-
They can't see where all the other cars are, to be fair.
Two race on well until Sean Allen moved, but the two race honours ones were pretty perfectly lined up.
Well, Sean Allen's gearing to get going because
He's gotten bored.
driven to the end of the pit lane, and the time it hasn't started yet. Another one of these very, very short qualifying sessions, only 5 minutes. They're too wide going down the pit lane there, so that's going to be very interesting to see how
This
that
is a very
plays
short
out.
lap
Whoa,
for everyone
dear.
to be jumping out of the same.
Trying to think, is that Dane Liccardo who's not put enough lock on? I can't quite
Looks
see
like,
who that is.
And Brody Steen has very, very graciously stopped to let him go ahead. Might come to regret that
It is Dane Liccardo.
as they get to the end of the pit lane. So it looks like Sean Allen will in fact be our first runner to set a hot lap. But my goodness, there's going to be precious little space. I'm looking at the map and there are a lot of cars just going through that hairpin and coming onto the back straight right now.
Stenny has stayed out stayed in the pit. So every other car, all 15 of them, on the racetrack currently.
Everyone else is keen and raring to go. We are looking at Benjamin Dahlia going through the last corner. And here is Brody Steen, who was the last car to exit the pits, I believe.
The first car to start a lap will be Sean Allen. Actually, it looks like it was Sean Allen. Looks like he's been overtaken before the end of the out lap. So that's going to be David Nedovich, I believe, in front of him. We're going to get a lot of times very, very quickly. They haven't left each other any space at all.
No space at all. They're going to be interfering with each other quite a lot. I guess he will get a bit of a tow down this long curving back straight, which is a contradiction of terms, but nevertheless, he's going to catch up to him by the time they get to the last corners. So I'm not sure how they're going to handle this.
Totally different fortunes for his teammate Brody Steen, who's got basically the entire back straight to himself right now. Because he came out later and left himself plenty of space. We also have seen Stenny make his way to the racetrack. So all 16 cars on the racetrack now as Zach Baker sets the early pole time there as one of the ZB cars goes off. I believe that was Zach Baker.
Yeah, got right out of the way. 51.6, so that's about 0.6 of a second slower than what we saw last time we were here, and probably about 0.5 slower than we were seeing in practice. So Sean Allen already up by 0.2 on his previous lap, as we're already halfway through this qualifying session, Stairs. 2 minutes and 30 seconds to go.
Yeah, so who have we not seen times from? Did I just see Kurt Stenberg drop out of the session? I'm trying to see where he is.
Can't see him in the live timing.
Well, that's unfortunate, because if he's not in now, he won't be able to set a time, so it means he will be starting from the back of the grid if that is indeed the case.
Sean Allen improves his time by 0.8 of a second. Just goes to show what some clear air will do for you. Colin Warwick goes to pole.
These people don't have any clear air. It's Kai Ardley and...
is that the other Kai? No, that's
Brendan Dostal going side by side through the first couple of corners there.
That's not particularly quick, boys. Kurt Stenberg has gotten back in with 1 minute and 40 seconds to spare, so he can probably get out there and do 2 quick laps.
Yeah, except I believe the rules stipulate that he can't set a time if he's not in at the beginning of the session. So
well, he is the admin, he would know. So
his teammate Jake Maloney is qualifying, so this is a reversal in fortunes. Often is Jake Maloney not qualifying and starting from the back, but it looks like it might be his teammate Kurt Stenberg. We'll keep an eye on him. It still says he's in the pits on our live timing.
Meanwhile, Colin Warwick still with the pole position at the moment with a 51.4. Jake Maloney warming his tyres.
Oh!
Whoa!
There was a bit of a crash just as we cut to it. We'll see if we can find a replay there. I think he might have been on his out lap anyway. It was in lap rather, as Colin Warwick had set a time. And it was just starting probably his in lap. And I think it was a car coming out of the pits that he collided with. It was Kurt Stenberg. So maybe Kurt thinks he can qualify. As you said, Madbird, he would know what the rules are.
Or maybe Colin Warwick, as the other admin, has a disagreement with him and said, "What are you doing? Get back in there," and gave him a side swipe for his trouble. But he does appear to be out there, does Kurt Stenberg, so must be planning to set a lap.
I'm assuming that he would have gone back into the pits after
Presumably.
that accident, because that would have given him a fair bit of damage.
Yeah, that looked like a fairly hefty shunt.
So we'll see where he can put himself, because he's the main car really out of position at the moment that I can see. No huge other surprises really. Maybe Jake Maloney. Would have expected him to be a bit further up, and he's actually just set a purple sector, so we might see if we can track his progress.
This is the
Kurt
only...
Stenberg was also up through the first sector by 9,000ths of a sector, of a second, I should say.
Meanwhile, Jack Maloney down by nearly 0.2 of a second coming through the last sector.
Yeah, and looks like some sort of incident in front of him might have hampered his final corner, so let's see what it is. He actually does improve there. He goes third. How's Kurt Stenberg going? 0.1 of a second up. This is looking very, very good indeed for Kurt Stenberg.
He's left it bloody late, hasn't he, as he comes around the last corner. This is the only lap he's going to get a chance to do, and it's good enough for second, but not first.
Just lost it in the last sector there. Only 0.5 of a second. Brenton Foley making a very good point that he might not have had time to go to the pits. The accident happened with just over 60 seconds left on the clock, so he might have done that
with damage.
With damage.
That'd be mighty impressive if that is the case.
It's a 51.4, which is about 0.4 of a second shy of the qualifying record from 2019 set by Jake Maloney. So for whatever changes have happened in the last 2 years, it's slowed the cars down a little bit.
Yeah, Jake himself only good enough for a 51.7 on this particular qualifying session.
Any other cars left to set laps? It doesn't appear as though there are.
No, everybody's finished according to our live timing, so there we go. We are ticking over into the race itself.
'Twas quick.
'Twas very quick, 5 minutes, and it's a bloody quick lap around here as well, so I imagine it's going to be a pretty quick race.
So Colin Warwick takes pole position from Kurt Stenberg. Zach Baker and Jake Maloney will occupy the second row of the grid. And then we had Sean Allen and Brody Steiner race on odds third row. Ahead of RSM Latino, Dane Liccardo, Benjamin Daly, and then Alex Cattle rounds out the top 10. And then further down it was Brapp, Kai Ardley, Steve Warwick, David Nenadich, Kai Jones, Stenny, and Brandon Dostal rounding out our grid of 17 cars. Good showing.
Yeah, very good showing. Good to see Jake Maloney qualifying. So that should be an interesting top 5. Colin Warwick through Sean Allen, and not to discount Brody Steen either. They are all competitors.
Hardsby very nicely lets us know that he's finished too.
Very good. Go Hans.
Where are you? Why aren't you competing tonight?
Yeah, well, get out in the track and finish out there. Make things interesting for us.
Slightly darker conditions for the warm-up session.
I was like moving my head around, wondering if I've drastically changed the direction I was viewing the screen from.
Screens aren't quite that bad anymore.
No.
Remember the early days of flat screen TVs?
You'd look at them from 2 degrees to the left, and it would be almost pitch black.
You'd have one of those TVs at at school or something, and you happen to be unlucky enough to be sitting off to the one side, and you had just no idea whatsoever.
Absolutely none. Oh, the huge old TVs that they have to wheel in on a cart. Remember them?
Yeah, so those TVs kind of work a little bit better from a viewing from all angles point of view. Literally point of view.
Oh, yes. Very good.
Well, you knew when that happened that you would you'd be getting some education in health from classic 80s shows like Zardip's Search for Healthy Wellness.
Zardip's Search for Healthy Wellness.
I learned a lot about germs from Zardip.
I don't think I learned much of anything.
Oh man, if you watched them again, you would realise how much you did learn.
I keep meaning to, since you've drawn my attention back to... God, it is dark out there, isn't it? It's almost headlights conditions.
If you are watching this, and I don't encourage you to turn away from what you're watching right now, but later on in the evening, if you do feel that you are requiring any entertainment, look up Zardip's Search for Healthy Wellness for a good time.
A very good time. Much like the good time that Hans just had. 15 seconds left in this warm-up session. That's not a very... It doesn't give him too much time.
Are you warm? I'm not warm. I can't imagine that in Tasmania, in April, when it's this dark, that it would be very warm at all.
No, I imagine it's quite chilly. What a change daylight savings makes, hey? The last time I was here, it was still daylight when we was commentating the first race, and now it's not.
And now it's not.
And now it's not.
Practice start perhaps for Colin Warwick? Nope, he's just elected to go back to the pit lane.
I'm saying need some more of the top guys from ASC Super 2, of which I am not one. Well, yeah, sell yourself accurately, but nevertheless, it'd
Sell
be
yourself remarkably short.
But it would be nice to see you out there, nevertheless. I'm just looking at the...
Although any more than 20 cars and my computer very much struggles to bring you the broadcast.
I'm just looking at the
the
notifications on Stairs' Discord, and the fact that he has unread notifications is giving me severe anxiety.
Yeah, it would be a full-time job to clear all of those notifications.
Just right-click and go mark as read.
Yeah, but like all of these things as well.
Oh, you don't need to click. I don't care about them. I just care about the red numbers.
Doesn't bother me.
That surprises me, actually. You strike me as the sort that would need to be on top of that sort of thing.
Yeah, it's just that I only go on Discord every time, like once a round.
Fair enough. If you were on it daily, it would probably bother you more.
Exactly. Yeah. I think I probably would click it more. It's just that I'm more concerned with getting the broadcast up and running on a day like this.
That's fair enough. On a night like this, I want to commentate forever.
So here is the racetrack once again, 2.41 kilometres in length. It is a very, very short track, clockwise in direction, and sometimes the simplest tracks, they produce the best racing, and I think this one is no exception at all. Very much looking forward to seeing what happens as we gear up for the action tonight.
Only 7 turns. But my goodness, some of them are doozies, especially that first, second, and third turns. It's a complex, a tricky complex to get right at the best of times.
So moments away now as they get underway. That's Colin Warwick, who will be starting this race in pole position. Great job from him. And then behind him we've got Kurt Stenberg, who looks like he might have done his lap with a damaged car, which makes it all the more impressive. Then behind him we've got Zach Baker in 3rd place. Good qualifying session for Zach Baker. Good to see the ZB guys back up the pointy end. Then we've got Jake Maloney, so 2 Trans-Tasman racing cars within the top 4. Then it's Sean Allen and Brody Steen, the 2 Race On Oz guys behind him. And then RSM Latino, he starts in 7th place for Warwick Racing Team. Benjamin Dahlia in 8th place, another Race On Oz duo occupying a similar part of the grid with Alex Cattle behind him. And then it's Brapp rounding out the top 10 for Missed Apex Motorsport. Didn't miss the top 10 though. Kai Ardley will start in 11th place, another newcomer alongside Steve Warwick in 12th, actually slightly ahead of Steve Warwick in 12th. David Nenadich will be alongside him, a little bit further back than we might have expected to see him, so maybe he couldn't quite get a lap in that 5-minute qualifying session. Then we've got Kai Jones and Stenny, behind Stenny, Brendan Dostal, and then Dane Liccardo in 17th place. So Dane Liccardo evidently didn't get a lap in and dropped out of the session.
That's a shame for him, but honestly, it might be a good idea to start from the back, considering how the first go through the hairpin usually works out for our drivers. So let's hope it's a little bit tidier than it has been in the past, but also, you know, everyone wants a tiny bit of shunt, don't they?
Oh, maybe.
Maybe.
You did say shunt, right?
I did say shunt.
There we go.
I didn't say...
So the revs are rising, and we're about to get racing for the first time in 2021 in Tasmania.
Lights are out and away they go. Good start from Kurt Stenberg, already ahead of Colin Warwick as they go through the first turn. Looks like Jake Maloney's gotten the shot on Zach Baker as well. There's a bit of contact there towards the back. Colin Warwick down into 2nd place, as said, just behind Kurt Stenberg. And Zach Baker and Jake Maloney are side by side going on down into the hairpin for the very first time. And it looks as if Zach Baker's going to manage to edge out that one, as we've got Colin Warwick going a little bit wide there into the wall. We're going to see that plenty of times in this race, I reckon.
But so far, pretty much everyone got through. There was a little bit of sideways action through the first couple of chicanes, but we've got all the cars within 10 seconds, or just, as Brendan Dostal just dipped with it, dipped below 10 seconds, or above, I should say, 10 seconds from Kurt Stenberg. But no big crashes, which is a good start to this race.
Here's Brody Steens managed to get the job done on his teammate Sean Allen off the start, so he'd be pretty happy with that. And Zach Baker still defending grimly from Jake Maloney right behind him. You can see how close they are going through those first few corners.
Yeah, and Kurt Stenberg's built himself a 1.1 second advantage already. So Colin Warwick, that mistake down at the hairpin on the previous lap, very, very costly, as Kurt Stenberg absolutely nailed the back half of the first lap. Bit of a lock up there. They all go deep. Again, Colin Warwick sending smoke signals to those behind, struggling on the brakes. Indeed flirt with the wheel, with the wall.
His wheel flirted with the wall.
Gracious me.
Goodness gracious me. Zach Baker keeping in touch with Colin Warwick. About 0.4 of a second between them. He's definitely not losing touch compared to Colin Warwick losing touch on Kurt Stenberg.
Oh, we've got Brapp's gone off down there in 11th place, and I think I saw David Nenadic as well. There he is, yes, both of them having an issue. Our camera angle a little bit too tight to pick up exactly what was happening there, so let's have a look at a replay and hopefully we can determine whether they were involved with each other. There was contact between the ZB car and Brapp.
Looks like a bit of a dive from David Nenadic, perhaps.
Yeah, we might have to come back to that and see if we can find an onboard. Whoops. And that might tell the story.
Still surprised that David Nenadic is in that position down in 14th. Definitely expect him to be up here with his teammate who's on screen at the moment, still chasing down Colin Warwick as we come to finish the third lap of this race. Goodness me, they go fast. When it's under a minute per lap. Oh, gets a bit of a wiggle on coming around the last corner. Does very well to keep it on the black stuff and is right on the back of Colin Warwick. Zach Baker is really pressing him at the moment.
Yeah, good stuff there from the ZB car. So very different fortunes from the two ZB cars. This is on board with David Nenadic a little while ago, and he's actually, I think he's completely outbraked himself there. He's just driven past his marker board, and that's just Brapp was the unfortunate guy who was in the wrong place at the wrong time for that. So David Nenadic might be in a little bit of trouble for that.
Yeah, I reckon that slower car on his right-hand side probably just blocked where his usual braking point would be and completely took him by surprise. Obviously still his fault. Oh, and he is live. Looks like he has been the first to fall victim to the hairpin in a major way.
And it was trying to pass Brapp
once again.
And again, going past his braking zone. So Brapp probably has picked up a little bit of damage from that. So poor old Brapp, through no fault of his own, has had 2 accidents with David Nenadic. So David Nenadic, now he's going to have a bit of damage from that, if he didn't already have some damage from the first incident. Oh, and he's now down in 17th place, and he is taking his pit stop. Yeah, fair enough. It's such a short lap around here that they go a lap down when they make a pit stop. So he's going to find himself... He's not going to be getting himself out of traffic with that pit stop.
Definitely not.
Meanwhile, back at the front, we still have this battle going on between his teammate Zach Baker and Colin Warwick for second place. Kurt Stenberg now 2 seconds adrift.
Yeah, Colin Warwick having to drive in his mirrors almost exclusively with this ZB car all over his rear bumper. You can see them wiggling back and forth as they go through that last corner.
Jake Maloney's got a watching brief on that one as well. Meanwhile, David Nenadic is on the move.
Ironically, having decided to qualify this time around, Jake Maloney's probably had one of the least exciting opening sections of a race.
We've just seen Dostal going off, but we'll have a look at this now because that's Zach Baker trying to go around the outside.
Got a good run.
Colin Warwick. He does have a good run, goes to the inside, but the next corner, turn 5, goes to the right. It's a very fast right-hander. They're almost bump drafting through here. That's going to unsettle the car through one of the fastest parts of the racetrack. And is he going to go down the inside of the left-hander? It doesn't look like he's able to because he's been pushing Colin Warwick clear, and Jake Maloney is only car lengths behind. He's going for the undercut as he dives into the pits on lap 6. Probably a good option.
Yeah, probably. Zach Baker and Colin Warwick are locked in this titanic struggle. Just went for a much wider entrance into the hairpin, Zach Baker, and it seemed to get him a good run onto the back straight, but Colin Warwick did well to cover it off. And there is a shot inside of Jake Maloney. God, I'm not doing well with names today.
Oh, deep perhaps there by Colin Warwick, but it wasn't deep enough to allow Zach Baker to get the position as Jake Maloney is now on the move. Let's see where he feeds in.
Yeah, it won't be too long of a stop here. You won't need too much more petrol to get to the end of the race, and probably not even change tyres for only 22 laps. But Jake Maloney is back out onto track now, so he won't go a lap down compared to these two.
Very good. So he's 40 seconds adrift of Kurt Stenberg. Oh, that's a bit of side-by-side there as Colin Warwick elects to go into the pits now. So this is going to be the interesting thing to look at.
I wonder if that was planned or not. It looked almost like Colin Warwick went wide onto the grass and then decided, well, I'm going down the pit entry anyway. I might as well just get my pit stop out of the way.
Here he is.
He's come to a stop.
So this is the interesting point now. So Jake Maloney was about 40 seconds adrift of Kurt Stenberg. So that means that's about a 37, 38 second time difference for the pit stop, because they were 2 or 3 seconds behind Kurt Stenberg. Zach Baker is now 4 seconds adrift of Kurt Stenberg. He's just in a class of his own right now. So Jake Maloney's coming around the final corner. This is going to be mighty, mighty close indeed.
It is. He's just coming down towards this first corner now as Colin Warwick exits the pits at the exit of the first corner, and he's managed to hold on to that lead over Jake Maloney. Don't know if Jake Maloney's actually gained anything on him. Doesn't look like it in those pit stops. But we are still waiting for Zach Baker, who has yet to pit.
And hasn't elected to come in on this. Looks like he's on the way down to the hairpin, turn 4.
So he's continuing on, as is Kurt Stenberg, and why wouldn't he?
These are early stops, though. I mean, that was very much a reactive pit stop for Colin Warwick, because he knew he was going to lose time battling with Zach Baker, and he didn't want to get jumped by Jake Maloney. But there's still quite a lot of time left in this race, so ordinarily you'd probably want to go to about lap 11 to make the tyre stop. We've got another car, Steve Warwick, I think it is, in the pits at the moment.
Looks like. I'm trying to get a gauge of what their sort of lap times are. So Jake Maloney did a 51.7. Zach Baker's did a 52.2 on his previous lap. So there's a few tenths in it based off of that.
51.4 for Kurt Stenberg, very much in a class of his own tonight. No one even within 0.3 of a second, which is quite a big margin. Like 0.3 of a second on this track is probably the equivalent of a second on most other tracks.
Yeah. It's a very short lap to try to find time on. Wrap now in the pits by the looks of it.
Yes. Wonder if he'll have any damage to repair. Well, he probably will have damage. Whether he elects to repair it, though, is probably the big factor there, because of those incidents with David Nemovich, who is currently 17th. Unfortunately for him, he's 18 seconds down on the car ahead of him, which is Steve Warwick. So he's got a mountain of work to do to try and salvage something from this race.
51.7 and a 51.6 for Colin Warwick and Jake Maloney on the previous lap, whereas Kurt Stenberg was a 51.9, and Zach Baker has actually pit at some stage. I'm just watching him pull down the timing. At least I hope he's pit and not had an accident. No, there he is.
Pit.
He is in the pit box, as you can see there.
And so too Brody Steen, as we've got a move on there between Brendan Dostal and Colin Warwick. Colin Warwick now making his way through the cars who haven't pitted yet, as we see Zach Baker on the move. In the back of that shot there was Alex Cattle making his pit stop. And this will be very interesting to see where he feeds out in this battle. It looks like he's lost a huge amount of ground and is going to drop behind both of the two cars that pitted early in Colin Warwick and Jake Maloney.
Yeah, by a hefty margin as well. So he was about 0.5 of a second slower on those last few laps, which makes a huge difference around this racetrack. Lewis Wedding in the chat just saying, yeah, go Hans, what have I missed? Any big sends or crashes? David Nadovich has had some bad luck, brought on by himself.
Well, I think an unintentional send at turn 6 where he probably completely just didn't see his brake marker board and
got a
took out
drive-through
Brad.
penalty for Brendan Dostal, which I imagine would be a pit lane speed infringement.
We've also got Benjamin Dahlia and RSM Latino currently in the pit lane.
So who have we got? So Kurt Stenberg and Sean Allen still out there circulating. Oh, as we see Kurt Stenberg coming into the pits.
Makes sense.
So on lap 12, so he's waited a fair while, but he was still punching out pretty decent laps. Sean Allen was about 8 seconds behind him when I last looked. Now looks like Colin Warwick's coming under attack from Jake Maloney.
Yeah, that's been bubbling away. I think Jake Maloney probably has slightly better pace at the moment, although the last lap, yeah, he was about 0.4 of a second faster, which, as we detailed, as Kurt Stenberg makes his way to the end of the pit lane, is a large gap in a track as short as this. A few more pit callers in the back shot, so that'll start cleansing. Brandon Dostal's in the pit lane, so that's probably to serve his penalty. The other cars we saw in the background were Stenny and Kai Jones coming in to make their pit stops.
So in the end, Kurt Stenberg has hung on to about a 4-second lead over Colin Warwick and Jake Maloney.
So he currently enjoys, actually, looking at Sean Allen coming into the pits. So he was the leader by default, with Kurt Stenberg having made his pit stop. We've got Dane Liccardo behind him, who looks like he stayed out actually at the moment.
Yep, so Dane Liccardo assumes the race lead. So
As-
him to put on his copybook.
As the cars we mentioned before coming out of the pit lane in the foreground of that shot. So Dane Liccardo gets the benefit of leading a lap, so we might as well show him for... he's stayed out of trouble in this race, which is good news for him, because we definitely were talking about him for all the wrong reasons earlier in the season. He started in 16th place, or sorry, 17th place, because he didn't qualify. So just by virtue of being the last car to pit, he's going to lead the race.
Blair Warren in the chat just saying, hey guys, hope you are all well. We're doing fantastic.
Same to you, Blair Warren. Having a good first race here. Lots of strategy going on.
Yeah, lots
So-
of undercuts and differing pit strategies, which is always interesting. Dane Liccardo continues on, so he's going as late as he can, but looks of it, they've got to make their pit stop by lap 18.
So they've got plenty of time to do it. I can't imagine there's too much advantage in
Stretching
waiting
it
until
out.
lap 18 to make your pit stop.
Yeah, for those fresh tyres for all 4 laps.
Well, you don't really have any time to make the last 4 laps. Is 4 minutes less than in this on this sort of racetrack. So, man, look at the times Kurt Stenberg's setting. He's done a 51.496 on the previous lap, which is only half a tenth off his fastest lap of the race. So he's consistently banging out those lap times, and finally Dane Liccardo is making his pit stops. So that will mean that Kurt Stenberg will assume the lead.
And I'm pretty sure he is the last of our pit callers, so the field should pretty much be back to how it should be.
There goes Kurt just in the foreground of that shot.
With Colin Warwick. Michael Zavallari just saying, surprised that Colin Warwick stayed ahead of Jake Maloney. And you and me both, he's doing a very good job. Jake Maloney just doesn't seem to be able to close in any closer. Although Colin Warwick had a bit of a messy exit there onto this straight down to the hairpin. So Jake Maloney might have a bit of a dive, but thinks better of it, and is just going to try to sit behind him.
Yeah, I mean, Colin Warwick always looks like he's struggling into that hairpin, but I mean, he always gets it stopped even if it doesn't look fast. There's always smoke signals coming up of those tyres as he locks up or what have you coming into there, but it's never quite enough for the following car to take advantage of that. Remember, these guys pit quite early, so I'll be keeping an eye on Sean Allen's lap times to see whether he can close that gap, especially if they start fighting each other, because Sean should have much fresher tyres. Just seeing on the timing screen, see if we can discover how much newer his tyres are. And indeed, he pitted only on lap 13, so he should have tyres that are about 4 or 5 laps younger than these two that we're looking at as they lap Stenny.
He does have to make his way past Zach Baker, who also pitted earlier.
Actually, yeah.
But Zach Baker, as Michael points out in the chat, surprised to see him drop away so harshly. He's about 2 seconds now behind Jake Maloney after he had been right amongst these two.
Yeah, well, he was in between these two guys, and it seems like he lost out quite a bit by pitting later. Don't need to see
the benefit
Dane
of
Liccardo on picture anymore.
we need Dane Cam.
Dane Cam.
Who was it? Bad Dog.
Here's the leader, Cam, Kurt Stenberg, in the foreground of that shot, as his teammate is ever closer now to Colin Warwick, looking to make a Trans-Tasman Racing 1-2 here.
That'll be the first time for quite a while. it's been quite a while since both Trans-Tasman cars scored points, so they'd be absolutely thrilled if they got a 1-2. Jake Maloney just keeping the pressure on Colin Warwick, but Colin just seems to have a bit of pace coming out of that hairpin that's just enough to keep him ahead all the way down to turn 6, and it's a very brave man to dive down the inside of turn 6.
Speaking of brave man, I'm going to attempt a stock take with 4 laps left, so let's see how we go. So here is our race leader, that's Kurt Stenberg. He enjoys a 6-second advantage over these two battling stars, Colin Warwick and Jake Maloney. My goodness gracious me, that is close. That is very, very close. I wonder, maybe we can put that on the picture so you don't miss anything. So behind him, we've got Sean Allen and Zach Baker. So Zach Baker is in 4th place. Sean Allen chasing them down in 5th place, just making his way past the lapped car there. And again, it's deceptive. It looks like Colin Warwick is going to lose the position, but he gets good drive off the corner and Jake Maloney can hang on to the position. Then we've got Brody Steen in 6th place, ahead of Benjamin Dahlia. Dane Liccardo, he's kept his nose clean by going a long way into this race before making his pit stop, and he's in 8th. Oh, that's very, very sideways there for Colin Warwick. And is he into the grass? We can't actually see him because of this wide shot, but indeed he is, and he's ceded position. He's probably going to cede further positions there, as there goes Zach Baker onto the final spot on the podium. And disappointment for Colin Warwick as the pole sitter loses 2 positions in 2 corners.
That is hugely disappointing for him. He's still on the back of Zach Baker, so he's not going to give this fight up. He's got 2 laps to try to get that position back. But yeah, it just looked like he got a little bit pressured by Jake Maloney going into turn 6. Went a little bit wide, and that was all she wrote, straight out on the grass, but managed to keep it out of the wall, luckily enough for him. Still in with a shot for that 3rd place.
Unintentional Dane Cam again. Moving on from that, behind him, we have RSM Latino in 9th, ahead of Steve Warwick, the father of the guy we just saw spearing off the racetrack. And then behind Steve Warwick, it is Brapp, with a close battle between himself and Alex Cattle over 11th and 12th place. Then we've got David Nenadich, and then rounds out the cars still on the lead lap. Lapped cars include Kai Jones, Stenny, Kai Ardley, and Brandon Dostal, who we've just seen going into the wall at the hairpin, so that's a bit unfortunate for him.
He gets out of the way quickly.
Lost that position to... Actually, David Nevich has done well to recover 4 positions. He was last not too long ago, as Colin Warwick's tyres are completely cooked. Look at the rears as he slides the back into the hairpin.
It's going to be tantalisingly close for Sean Allen, but I think just not close enough for him to nick that 4th place. But he's got a watching brief. If Colin Warwick slides again, perhaps has a little bit more of a drastic accident, he could take that 4th place away from him.
Kurt Stenberg has started the last lap of the race.
Goes quick.
It does.
19 minutes.
Oh, onto the grass there for Sean Allen. Very, very close indeed, but we need to have a look at our leading driver, Kurt Stenberg. My goodness, he's gone from strength to strength this year. Oh, it's David Nenadich provides a bit of a moving chicane. Only just moving.
Last minute drama.
Yeah, I think David Nenadich is very much nursing that car home after what I'm sure he would be the first to tell you was not the best race that he's ever done. And he'll aim to bounce back in races 2 and 3 tonight. Kurt Stenberg, though, that was but a minor convenience as far as his night goes. A minor inconvenience, I should say. I wouldn't call anything about that convenient.
After almost not qualifying, doing his 1 qualifying lap to put him into 2nd and then taking the lead off the start, he led from then on and has raced a very good race.
Jake Maloney makes it a 1-2 for TTR. Great job from them. And Zach Baker, very, very pleased indeed to round out the podium for ZB Racing. Then it was Colin Warwick who managed to hold off Sean Allen in the end for 4th place, but he'll be disappointed with that. And then it was Brody Steen, the other Race on Oz car, 5th and 6th, finishing where they started. Benjamin Dahlia looks like he has brought home 7th place, so it's 5, 6, 7 for Race on Oz. Then it was Dane Liccardo who drove a clean race there, up 9 spots, very well done by him. And then it's RSM Latino in 9th place, who lost 2 spots from where he qualified. Steve Warwick in 10th place, good job from him. And then we've got Alex Cattle in 11th place, ahead of Brapp. Rounds out all the drivers finishing on the lead lap. And then David Nenadich, 13th ahead of Kai Jones. Stenny, Kai Ardley, and Brendan Dostal.
Fantastic.
Oh, that was a good race.
That was an excellent race. Very well done. Very well done for all our pole sitters,
All of
podium
them.
sitters. Zach Baker managing to make something out of it after what looked like a mistake in his pit strategy. I wonder if that's going to influence stuff in the future races. People are going to try to get him out of the way as early as possible, because that seemed to be the way to go. With the exception being Kurt Stenberg, who of course was in a bit of a class of his own. Some very realistic.
That's what Tasmanians look like. That is realistic. I know you're saying that tongue in cheek, but
this is what they look like.
yes, you know, about 2 or 3 stops underexposed compared to everything else.
and very, very two-dimensional.
Yeah, very, very much so.
Yeah. Zooming. Oh my goodness, that man has a little bit of a low poly bulge.
Oh, that is a bulge.
He's
Moving right along.
moving right along. That is race 1 here at Simmons Plains. He's got it up on the other screen. He's very happy with himself. It's just pointed out. Poking above our track map that I hadn't noticed. Is that a straw?
It's a load-bearing straw.
It's a load-bearing.
If I take it off, well, I mean that fell over.
So the penis straw was completely unnecessary. Apart from...
It belongs to my housemate Aaron. I'm sure it will be of no surprise to you at all.
It does not surprise me at all, and I very quickly put that down.
It's a straw that, on the top of it, the part with which you would place your mouth, is a fairly realistic sculpture
Simile of a penis.
Male reproductive organs.
Michael Zalavari in the chat just saying, focusing in on what's important, Mad Bird, with a winky face, implying that it was me that was in control of the camera, zooming in on that poor two-dimensional man's bollocks. But it was, in fact, my co-commentator Stairs, who is absolutely filthy. This is the racetrack, though. Simmons Plains Raceway, 2.41 kilometers. Kilometers. Turn 1, 2, and 3. And then down into turn 4. Which is that hairpin where we didn't actually see much drama at all this time around. I was surprised. Turn 5, which is really, that's a very, very long corner. I'm very glad they consider that 1 corner. Some tracks would call that 3. Turn 6 and then turn 7, and that's all she wrote. Previous winners, Jack Maloney and Jack Maloney. You can add to that Kurt Stenberg, and we're going to see who else is going to join him and Colin Warwick on the pole positions right about now.
So another very short qualifying session. I like these 5-minute qualifying sessions.
They're punchy, aren't they?
They are, and you don't really get too many second chances, although having said that, this track is short enough that you do get 1 or 2 extra second chances, which by the sort of way that the numbers work in English are actually called 3rd and 4th chances.
Appreciate the advice. Sean Allen coming around the last couple of corners to start his flying lap, and hopefully he can push himself a bit further up the field. He was in 5th last time around, and he would probably be a little bit disappointed with that. He actually finished the race in 5th as well, but would want to be a bit higher up than that in the 2nd and 3rd races if he can manage it. Looks like he's got one of the ZB guys for close company behind him. They are leaving a bit more space than they did this time last qualifying session.
Yeah. And most of them on the racetrack, just 2 in the pits right now. That's Dane Liccardo and Stenny. So Stenny left it late last time, and Dane Liccardo didn't qualify last time. Good to see all 17 runners still in this qualifying session. So
hanging around.
We like a good retention rate.
Looks like that ZB car is getting very close to Sean Allen as they come through turns 6 and now 7 to cross the line. Sean Allen good enough for 3rd at the moment.
Good job, David Nenadic. Kurt Stenberg
tumbling,
hitting the top 51.2, and he is good half a second clear of literally anyone else. So Kurt Stenberg with a car that's not damaged and more than 1 lap is going to be a force to be reckoned with. I mean, didn't really need more than one lap in the first race.
No.
To set a time that was good enough for the front row, and then immediately leapt into the lead of the race on the start.
So he's going to hope to replicate that, I would imagine.
Here he is.
Here he is, indeed.
That lap, but I wonder if he'll go and set another one straight away, because, I mean, it's such a short lap. I'm sure the tyres are still good enough.
Looks like he's still pushing, but is not up going through the second sector split. Does not necessarily mean it won't be a quicker lap overall if he's... as we see Sean Allen getting all out of shape coming through turn 7. Kurt Stenberg does not improve, with Colin Warwick getting quite close, 1.5 tenths, behind Kurt Stenberg in second place at the moment.
Both of Kurt's times would have been good enough for pole position, though. He was only 0.04 of a second off his first time.
Whoop, Jake Maloney jumps up a tenth down on Kurt Stenberg, so looking to make it a front row lockout for Trans-Tasman Racing for race number 2.
Well, he's got form here. He was the man to beat last time the ASC Championship visited here.
Back in 2019.
And he's up, but that's deep down at the hairpin, Jake Maloney. Up by 16 thousandths of a second. How costly will that mistake into the hairpin be for Jake Maloney? Very fast turn 5. It's actually he's backed out of it. I'm sure he had the delta on his screen, Madbird. That would have told him that this lap is kaput. Think about other things. And there's not going to be enough time for him to set another time. Actually, there will. Looks like he might have enough fuel. He won't be able to go back to the pits and set another time, but Kurt Stenberg is in the pits, and he's just coming out of the pits now. He's going to be close. He's going to have to rush around very, very quickly indeed. I don't think it's going to happen for Kurt Stenberg. I don't think he's going to get another lap in, but Jake Maloney certainly will, and here it is.
Yeah, so Jake Maloney has crossed it in time. Kurt Stenberg basically would need to set a qualifying lap in order to... a pole position lap in order to get around in time to set another lap. So I feel like that's not going to happen. Jake Maloney, however, spun it at the hairpin. That's the most dramatic thing we've seen there so far, and that is not going to happen. Lewis Kugley in the chat just saying, go Stenny. Which Stenny are we referring to? But yes, I agree. Either way.
So Colin Warwick, what can he do? He's got one more chance to try and split the Trans-Tasman cars. 3 seconds left. Kurt Stenberg is just making his way to the line now. I don't think he made it. It went to 0 just as we cut to him, and so I fear he will not get another lap in. So Colin Warwick has the final say in this battle.
He's up on his own PB by 6 thousandths of a second. That won't be enough.
Yeah, he needs to find a bit more, and that's a big lockup. It's not going to help. Sean Allen found his way up into 4th place. Good job from Sean Allen.
He's given up on it.
Yeah, he will have known that that lap was not going to be good enough.
Who have we got out there still?
Seeing Benjamin Daly across the line. Doesn't improve, stays 7th.
Zach Baker down in 5th. He'll be disappointed with that after his 4th place in the first race qualifying. But he's amongst good company with his teammate David Nanich qualifying where we'd expect him to be this time around, up in 6th place.
And we believe Arison Latino has got himself into a bit of trouble here. Having a collision with Brandon Dostal.
Brandon Dostal's car appears to be made of concrete. It just did not want to move.
Didn't react to that accident.
It was like it just wasn't even there.
Not really sure what happened there. It's a bit unusual.
It's nice, it's different, it's unusual.
Nice.
My partner has been watching nothing but Kath and Kim.
Oh yeah?
My goodness. Showed her an episode of All Aussie Adventures and she said that it was boring.
Oh, that's not true.
And I said, it's like Kath and Kim, except funny.
Kath and Kim's got its moments.
Very few of them.
So twofold, Kel Knight. But yes, we do love a bit of all Aussie adventures.
All Aussie Adventures.
Time to hit the road.
Did you ever watch any of those Bush Tucker shows, like back in the day?
No.
No. It is honestly.
I watched Bush Mechanic.
That's probably close enough. I used to love Bush Tucker Man, with Les Hiddens, and having watched some of those sort of shows, I can tell you that All Aussie Adventures is a tone perfect satire of exactly what those shows would be like.
So, good to know where your Glenn Robbins prop preferences go. Very much in the direction of Russell Coit and not Kel Knight.
Absolutely. I'm surprised he didn't turn up in the games, to be honest. That'd be his sort of thing.
Yeah, I'm trying to rack my brains now. He didn't
They even
show
got
up.
Sam Neill.
They got Frank Woodley.
They did. They did get Frank Woodley, indeed.
If you don't know what we're talking about, the Games was a very, very clever satire of the 2000 Olympics, before the Olympics happened, which was on the ABC, starring John Clark, Gina Riley and Brian Dorr. It was remarkably good at predicting some of the things that ended up happening, like ticketing fiascos and stuff of the Sydney Olympics. But a lot of our drivers and viewers probably too young to even remember the Sydney Olympics, or might not have even been alive when they occurred.
Oh, Jesus.
Having said that, we do have people of more advanced age than even ourselves watching, who I'm sure will remember the Sydney Olympics like it was yesterday.
They might possibly remember an Olympics before the Sydney Olympics.
I remember Atlanta.
Do you?
Yeah.
I do not.
I don't remember Barcelona, though.
Barcelona.
Yes.
The Jerez.
They call it Barcelona because that is how it's pronounced. Actually, that was Jerez.
That was Jerez.
That was Jensen
In
Button's
Jensen
book.
Button's book.
Let's have a
Jerez,
catch
which
up
is
with the boys, see how they're going in this warm-up session.
pronounced Jerez because that's how it's pronounced.
More track time for Colin Warwick.
Dark again, just for the warm-up session.
It must be an in-game setting that they've just left as is.
It must be. Michael Zalavari saying, Madbird, your lady needs to get her head checked. Yeah, I'd agree. For various reasons, not just Kath and Kim, but, you know. Nah, she's alright.
She sent me a message before while we were on air. Yeah.
What did she say?
I shouldn't read the whole thing out because it involves a password for a streaming platform. But
Oh, no, she did message me about that as well, actually. I actually did know what the password was. I just couldn't be bothered typing it out because it's quite annoying. So I said, no, I can't.
You've made it a bit easier.
I said I can't be bothered. Just reset it. Relationships.
Yeah, so I think it's more about the fact that she doesn't enjoy Russell Coit. She doesn't like Arrested Development too, which is something that you and I both like
I showed
quite dearly.
I showed her the 100-meter track clip of the games, and
that's good.
she wasn't particularly amused. Yeah, it's
such clever writing, though.
relationships require compromise, and part of the compromise on my behalf is accepting that she doesn't have good taste.
So passive-aggressive about it.
I feel like,
you know, bygones be bygones. Let everyone enjoy what they like.
yeah, but you
wrong.
don't know what you're talking about. Oh god, no! Arrested Development. That was a hard pill to swallow. She does like The Mandalorian though, which made up for it somewhat.
So it's newer shows that you agree on, not ones that you had pre-existing opinions on.
Yeah, I mean, I liked Breaking Bad, and she likes Breaking Bad, so she likes Friends, which obviously I'm a big fan of. We are nevertheless prattling away as we go into race number 2. The cars are all lining up on the grid. Michael giving me a good burn there. Is that how you ended up in that relationship? Because she doesn't have good taste? That is a joke that we make probably weekly when I tell her that she has terrible taste, and she says, well, yeah, obviously that's why I'm with you. Which, you know, hurts a little bit more every time.
So how does it feel knowing that you are the human embodiment of Kath and Kim then?
Never considered it until this moment, and I'll be honest, I'm about ready to kill myself. Kurt Stenberg on pole position leads his teammate Jake Maloney, who actually has gotten the jump on him on this warm-up lap, has decided to
Let him
get
pass.
some ascendancy, but now lets him through. So that is a Trans-Tasman 1-2. Behind them, Colin Warwick, who was on pole position last time around. Sean Allen in 4th place, with Zach Baker behind him in 5th. Podium sitter on the previous race. His teammate David Nedich behind him in 6th, who had a much better qualifying. Hopefully will keep his nose clean this time around. Behind him is Benjamin Dahlia in the Satellite Race Honours team, with Brody Steen in the main Race Honours team behind him, and is sandwiched by another of the young Race Honours drivers, Alex Cattle. So that's
Watch out, Brody Steen.
Yeah.
These guys are gunning for your seat.
Aren't they just? RSM Latino rounds out the top 10 with the Steve Warwick, father of Colin Warwick, as we always say, in 11th, as if the names were a coincidence. Crap. In 12th.
Any relation? No.
No. Stop asking. Kai Ardley, one of the newcomers here today. Oh, someone has gone off and into the wall.
Oh,
That looks like Steve Warwick. Interesting.
Was it?
I think it was. Anyway, Dane Liccardo in 14th place.
Steve Warwick is back in the pit, so it must have been.
Had a decent race last time out. Rip Steve Warwick. Kai Jones in 15th. And Brandon Dostal in 16th. With Stenny rounding out the top 17, rounding out the grid.
So here is Steve Warwick making his way to the end of the pit lane.
Oh, so he will still be starting.
Fix the damage and start from the pit lane. That's a bit of a shame. Lights are on. We're about to get racing once more. And a drive-through penalty for RSM Latino presumably for jumping the start. So what an awful moment in that race for him.
Absolutely. It looked like Sean Allen got the jump on Colin Warwick on the start. Has jumped up into... They're side by side with Zach Baker right behind. He's got a watching brief on this coming down into this dramatic hairpin as Sean Allen is marginally ahead, but Colin Warwick does have the inside line. They go through. Sean Allen very, very wide with Colin Warwick having a very messy exit. Sean Allen's got a bit of a run on him coming onto this long curving turn 5 straight. And he tries to go for the outside. Colin Warwick covers it off, goes for the inside. He's going to be up alongside, but when they get to turn 6, I'm not sure if there's a way through here for Sean Allen. He's just going to stick there and try to unsettle the car of Colin Warwick. Still holding on to 3rd place, and Zach Baker keeping a eye on this as well.
While that was happening, you saw on the picture-in-picture Steve Warwick electing to start from the pit lane. They didn't have enough time to fix his car by the looks of it. He rolled out onto the racetrack. The car was still evidently damaged from that that formation lap incident, and he has become our first retirement in this race.
Still going here between Sean Allen and Colin Warwick, but there is a gaggle behind them too. The two Z.
Oh, there's contact there. Sean Allen into the back of Colin Warwick, but it is play on. They had enough space for Sean Allen to not take the advantage, and he lets Colin Warwick go. My goodness gracious me.
I was about to say there was a gaggle forming up behind them, the 2 ZB guys and the 3 other Race on Oz drivers. We've got Alex Cattle, we've got Benjamin Daly, and we've got Brody Steen. All 5 of them squabbling over the same piece of track coming into the last corner. Look how close this is. Zach Baker with a cigarette paper's width between himself and Benjamin Dahlia and Alex Cattle.
We needed a wider camera angle here.
Looks like David Nadich has managed to make up a couple of positions, has jumped his teammate.
Oh!
And now Zach Baker is under assault by an absolute herd of Race on Oz drivers.
My goodness gracious me. It is close. Oh, there's a spinner in the back of that shot. It cut away from it. We'll see if we can find a replay and see what happened, who that was.
I reckon that might have been Brandon Dostal, just looking at the live timing.
Oh, it's all going on here. There's people going all sorts of wide. 3 wide almost. The 2 ZB guys trying to assault Benjamin Dahlia out of the hairpin.
They are trying to double team him and assault him. Neither of which are things that we condone here at Apex Rear Wing, but nevertheless they are happening in front of our eyes. Going into turn 6, Benjamin Dahlia still in front. Looked like a little bit of tapping there. Oh,
that was a bit of tapping. Benjamin Dahlia around, so unfortunately he's going to drop back. He's already down into 12th, 13th place, so he's got a lot of work to do, so that's unfortunate. More trouble for the ZB guys as they get themselves into a side-by-side tussle with Brody Steen now. Brody Steen coming up alongside David Nedidich.
Yeah, that was very messy. I'm not sure who to assign blame to, but it looked as if Zach Baker was trying to bite off a little bit more than he could chew. Brody Steen trying to go down the inside of David Nedidich. David covers it off quite well, and Dane Liccardo just keeping an eye on this, up in 8th place.
And he's going to have a look. Looks like he is going to get up alongside Brody Steen, who's dropped car length back from David Nedidich. He might be close enough to send it down the inside, but there's just a few car lengths in it now as Brody Steen edges his way a little bit clear. Almost going into the side of David Nedidich there. Hard to tell with the long camera lens there. In fact, David Nedidich has spilled it wide, and he might end up losing 2 spots out of that. So Brody Steen, Dane Liccardo almost got driven out into the grass there. And, gracious me.
A little bit of a tussle there between Dane Liccardo and David Nadich going through turns 1 and 2. And right behind them is Kane Ardley, just sitting pretty in 9th place. keeping an eye on this, thinking he might have a couple of positions up his sleeve in a minute.
Door to door between David Tenedich and Dane Liccardo, who gets sort of muscled rudely out of the way there, and it's play on. Bit of a flash of the lights there for Dane. He wasn't too happy. We'll just quickly, while we have an opportunity, catch a replay of what happened to Brendan Dostal. This put him out of the race. We saw in the back of shot just a few laps ago, him spinning. And was there contact with another car, or did he then just elect to retire all by himself? He's sort of precariously on the edge of the track there.
Yeah, that's
David Nedich has actually gone off the track on our other screen. So we will go back to see what happened to David Nedich there. So he's back in ninth with Dane Liccardo. Dane Liccardo's also involved there. So what on earth happened there? We're going to have to catch the replay. And that's not a replay. Here it is.
So it looks like it was coming out of turn 6. Just at the end of that long hairpin. Looks like Dane Liccardo. Oh, that is a hefty bit of impact there from Dane Liccardo and David Nedich.
Looks like Dane waited for him.
Yeah, he did wait for him, but that is a lot of positions that they have lost as a result of that. And David Nedich should probably be quite right in feeling aggrieved. Looked like he sideswiped Dane for his trouble as he recovered to the track. While we've been concentrating on this at the front, Kurt Stenberg off.
That was very nearly a bad off for David Nedich. Look who's behind them, Benjamin Dalio, who got sort of unceremoniously whisked out of the way a few laps ago. He's back on the back of this group. And for company, they also have Kai Jones with them. He wasn't involved in this battle prior.
No.
It's hard to know where to look.
As I was about to say, at the front, Kurt Stenberg's only in the lead over Jake Maloney by about 6 tenths of a second.
Benjamin Daly has spun off the back of this. He was up with them, but I just saw a glimpse of him spinning off the back of this shot. You'll get your point out eventually, Mad Bird.
No,
I'm
it's
sure.
fine. I saw David Nedich flashing his lights angrily at Dane Liccardo, and Dane Liccardo is flashing them right back, except he's in front. So I'm not sure what he was expecting David Nedich to see from that. But David Nedich obviously not happy with Dane Liccardo.
So this is how Benjamin Daly fell off for the second time, the back of this battle.
Painful little accident to have.
I think he got caught out. Maybe Kai wasn't going. Kai Jones wasn't going as fast.
Struggling to get the car pointing in the right direction, it must be said. But he did get there eventually.
Not too much damage.
Not too much damage. As David Nedich, whoa, as Kai Jones bowls it completely wide.
Oh my goodness.
Just in the background there. I just saw him in the background of the shot of David Nedich.
Is this the Imola Grand Prix?
At turn 1, yeah, it seems like. Or the 2006 European Grand Prix.
My goodness.
Have I gotten that one right?
Do you mean the big wet one?
Yeah.
That was 07, yep.
07,
so,
I was close.
Kai Jones. So these guys that we've been following the fortunes of are actually probably not worth following anymore because they're down in 14th, 15th. They were fighting over high points paying positions.
But they've slowly slid down the order.
Yeah, well, something that's high points paying positions we should look at now is Sean Allen and Colin Warwick. So Sean Allen looks like he's got that position done on Colin Warwick finally. They were going side by side moments ago.
You'll be happy with that. Only finished 6th in the first race. And we expect to see the Race on Oz guys up in the podium spots or thereabouts. So he'll be happy to be where he currently is.
So here's how it happened. This was coming into the first corner. Colin Warwick got a little bit too much curb there. That was what allowed Sean Allen up the inside, and he did not need a second invitation. He was waiting for that moment.
And it's just become undone on our other screen. Sean Allen has bowled it wide at turn 7, I believe it was, and Colin Warwick's managed to sneak on through. 07, the Winkelhock Masterclass, said Michael Zalavari.
Yes.
That's absolutely correct.
Marcus Winkelhock. So we're going to catch an onboard replay from Colin Warwick's perspective. That's Sean Allen up ahead. And just locked off the front left on the way in. Bowled it wide, and Colin Warwick said thank you very much. And
retaken that
position back. So now he has 1.5 seconds, Sean Allen, to try and recover that position. As Colin Warwick is now in 3rd place, very much eager to reclaim the podium that slipped away from him at the end of the previous race.
So we've got a yellow flag somewhere. Never mind, it is gone.
We got pit callers.
I was just looking at the timing screen. I saw Sean Allen jump up into second. I thought something horrible had happened.
Yeah, so we've got Brodie Steen, Jake Maloney, and Colin Warwick in the pits, and then further back we've got Stenny and Arasim Latino. So there's a hive of activity going on right now.
So it looks like they've learned from the previous race that pitting. Well, actually, no, pitting earlier on was the best strategy last race from what we saw. So
yeah, but that might have just been because they were getting out of the battles.
Colin Warwick has actually caught quite a bit on Jake Maloney during these pit stops.
The interesting one is going to be Jake Maloney versus Stenberg. Stenberg stayed out. Stenberg and Maloney were not too far away from each other.
1.1 seconds last I looked.
Stenberg has decided to keep going.
So we'll have to keep an eye on what sort of times Jake Maloney manages on these fresh tyres. 52.0 for Kurt Stenberg last time around.
Look at these guys still at it. David Nenich and Dane Liccardo.
David Nenich hoping that he's just put paid to that, but Dane Liccardo is right there and wanting to continue this battle.
More pit callers. What have we got? Brodie Steen and Kai Ardley, and then further back we've got Kai Jones. So 2 Kais in the pits right now.
2 Kais. Not 5 Kais.
So this is getting mighty close. Now, this is a bit of lap traffic, I think.
Dane Liccardo is he gonna make the corner? Does manage it actually.
So they're just getting past Arasim Latino, who had that penalty from the jump start, we think it was.
Yeah, and that's why Arasim Latino is a lap down, along with several other cars. Alex Cattle 2 laps down. I wonder what happened there. We missed any dramas that happened to happen to him.
We didn't quite see that. Every time I look up at the screen, Dane Liccardo and David Nenich are sideways, and they don't really have the space to do that. And David Nenich sensibly electing to
get out of there, man.
Yeah, extricate himself from that situation.
He's a post short of a wicket. Is that man? To steal a phrase from somewhere.
Not heard that one.
No.
No.
He's a can short of a full carton.
Oh yeah. Few brews loose in the top paddock,
etc. As Kurt Stenberg continues around again. So
why are we being non-complimentary in our sayings regarding him?
Regarding,
I can't remember who we were talking about.
Dane Liccardo.
Yeah.
Because he's had quite a bit of a messy race with David Nenich at the very least.
Total opposite to his first race. He had quite a clean race, staying out of trouble and pitting late. But he started at the back of the grid, so he's started this race.
I told you that was a good idea.
More in keeping with the position that he would have expected to be.
When we went through the grid for the first race, I said starting at the back might be a good idea, and he ended up in the top 10.
Perhaps in the pits.
Kurt Stenberg still continuing around, coming to the end of the lap now. Colin Warwick just set the fastest lap, having pitted.
36 seconds behind Kurt Stenberg. This is gonna be close.
Colin Warwick continues around. Oh, sorry, Kurt Stenberg continues around once again. Let's have a look. Jake Maloney on the previous lap was a 52.2, whereas Kurt Stenberg was a 52.1, so not a huge improvement over his teammate.
But Kurt Stenberg cannot afford a mistake right now because it will cost him the lead to Jake Maloney if that were to occur. So Dane Liccardo is going longer into the race again. Sean Allen's going longer into the race. Oh! And just on our other screen, we saw Kurt Stenberg coming across a stricken Brodie Steen, who had a bit of a moment there. We'll
catch him a bit of time.
A replay. So that might... I mean, these things can be very crucial when you are out in front. They can be the deciding factor, and we just saw that was actually quite a large incident Brodie Steen was still recovering from. I think Kurt Stenberg would have gotten away with that without losing too much time.
And Liccardo in the pits. And Kurt Stenberg coming into the pits. So the gap between himself and Jake Maloney is about 33 seconds.
Having a lot of fun with this picture-in-picture. It's so useful to be able to see and compare the two drivers that are vying for the lead of this race when they're separated by a pit stop.
Jake Maloney was about 0.5 of a second quicker on the last lap. Ooh. And then Kurt has had a bit of a messy lap this time around with that incident with Brodie Steen.
Could that be the difference? Jake Maloney's got a bit of traffic, though, to deal with. In fact, it's Kurt Stenberg's father, Stenny, that he has to make his way past. But how much time do you lose having to lap Stenberg, the senior, coming into the first corner?
It's going
to be right there, and Kurt Stenberg just gets his nose out in front. Wow.
About a second between them. And Colin Warwick has dropped right away from Jake Maloney, about 1.7 seconds between those two. As Kurt Stenberg goes through the hairpin for the first time, no dramas. And the gap is about a second between himself and Jake Maloney.
So Dane Liccardo made his pit stop, and it didn't have the effect of separating him from David Nenadic. Oh. Still very, very close together there as David Nenadic gets it all sorts of sideways through turn 1 over the curve. These two absolutely joined at the hip.
I don't think either of them are particularly happy about it.
No, but we're happy about it because we get to see this battle unfold.
Dane going for the inside, out-braking himself just a bit, but manages to get it pulled up in time. Oh.
It's a weird corner. It's got so much banking on it that you can go deep, and it doesn't really cost you. You get equal drive on the outside as the inside.
Well done by Jones there, just staying out of the way of these two.
Yeah, good job.
Probably a wise decision.
This is going to end in tears.
As they come into turn 6. My goodness, I'm just waiting. Oh, as David Nenadic gets pushed wide, I'm not sure if he just outbroke himself or if he drove wide all by himself, but that has given Dane Liccardo the position by about a second. He won't be happy with that. See if we can get an onboard here, or a replay of it at the very least.
Yeah, we might just go back and see if we can get it on board. We have a bit of an issue with the onboards with some of the cars. The Mustang seems to have these odd angles, and that's the wrong.
That is David Nenadic.
That is David Nenadic. So here's the view from Dane Liccardo.
Very patriotic livery.
Yes, on the inside of his mudguards. Yeah, so a bit of Morse code there. Dane might be in a little bit of trouble for that. But there's been, I mean, there's so much context to this that it might be sort of in the broader, you know, gave as good as you got kind of situation. How much context do you need?
Go back to 1994 when I was faster than Bang.
That's a lot of context.
That's a lot of context. So still...
Oh no! David Nenadic, that car, wow, he did a good job of recovering that. He did that a lap ago when we cut to this battle.
He's not covering himself with glory.
Covering himself
must be said. Kurt Stenberg just set the fastest lap. If there was any question as to whether he was still the quickest one out there.
Wow, 2.4 seconds now, the gap between himself and Jake Maloney.
Yeah, that is built.
It has. And Colin Warwick's got a pretty safe gap in third place from Sean Allen. That's 7 seconds with 3 laps to go. Colin Warwick looking very, very good for a podium. In fact, look how quickly he's closing up on the back of Jake Maloney here.
Yeah.
Last lap around, he was 0.2 of a second quicker than Jake Maloney.
He's going to be getting a bit of a tow at this stage.
Gracious me. So, looking to spoil the TTR party of 1-2s. They were 1-2 in race 1. They're 1-2 currently. Colin Warwick wasn't on the podium. It was Zach Baker who finished on the podium in race 1. He's down there in 5th place behind Sean Allen.
Kurt Stenberg setting another fastest lap, 51.163, which is the new race lap record.
Awesome.
It must be said.
Great job from...
Previous one being a 51.225 by this man here, Jake Maloney. I just saw some, looked like there was some smoke at turn 1.
Well, we just had RSM Latino recovering, but I saw another car off the...
I reckon it was Benjamin Dahlia once again, unfortunately.
He's been in the wars, it has to be said.
Yeah, there it is. Got the replay coming up. Just lost it coming through that apex. And
in front of Sean
sensibly
Allen
got out of the way.
Yeah, he wouldn't have been popular if he'd taken Sean Allen out of...
this is very close.
4th place. Oops.
There is 0.3 of a second separating these two at the moment. These two being Colin Warwick and Jake Maloney. They've only got 2 laps left to fight it out. This is lap 21 that they've just started.
Yeah, so the previous lap, once again, well, more or less exactly the same, Jake Maloney and Colin Warwick. So Colin Warwick will be trying very much to force a bit of an error.
I reckon it's going to come down to a last lap dive from Colin.
Oh, they've both gone deep, down at the hairpin.
That was his opportunity, and he went wide as well.
But they're so close. They're much closer than they were. Colin Warwick is close enough to have a go. The trouble is, for the next left-hander, you've got some hanging around the outside of the right-hander. And as you do that, you're going a slightly further distance. But I still think he's close enough to have a bit of a dip. Do we see Colin Warwick dive his way through? Yes, we do. It is going to be Jake Maloney diving back the inside of the final corner, though, because Colin Warwick couldn't keep the nose tucked in. They're side by side on the way down to the first corner. Who is latest on the brakes? It's Jake Maloney. Colin Warwick will try to get his nose up the inside, but once again, they go down to the hairpin. This is the final lap, by the way. Absolutely anyone is going to go for this one. It could be Jake Maloney, it could be Colin Warwick. Your guess is as good as mine, and Jake Maloney goes deep. This time Colin Warwick doesn't go deep. They're going to drag race all the way up to the final corner.
There is nothing in this. They are side by side coming down this long turn 5 curving straight. As we see Kurt Stenberg in the picture-in-picture there, just coming around the last...
Oh, he's gone off!
He's gone wide! I reckon he'll be safe. I reckon he's got plenty of time.
Oh, that was a nervous moment there as his teammate goes side by side with Colin Warwick through the final corner. This is going to be Kurt Stenberg wins the race. Great job. Jake Maloney is in the grass. He's in the weeds. He's crossing the line sideways because Colin Warwick has taken second place. Jake Maloney finishes third. What a finish!
Excellent, excellent defending from Colin Warwick. Just parked it on the apex of turn 6 and 7. There was nothing that Jake Maloney could do, and then got pushed wide just as they came onto the start-finish straight. So very well done there for Colin Warwick to get himself up into second place. Redemption from the first race.
Great job from Brap.
Brap coming through on 7th. He's happy with that, flashing the lights. Good on him.
Kai Hardley, another good job there. Dane Liccardo finished 9th. That's up 5 spots.
We'll see if he stays there.
I thought Dane Liccardo started higher than 13th, but maybe I was wrong. David Nedich finishes just behind him after having a few spins. Then it's RSM Latino in 11th. Benjamin Dahlia in 12th. He had a bit of a messy race. Stenny in 13th place.
It is a burnout.
He's got the
on fire.
Brakes locked up there. Kai Jones in 14th place. And then a lap down was Alex Cattle. And it was Brendan Dostal and Steve Warwick were our 2 non-finishers. Wow, that was great.
What an ending.
That was a great race there.
Holy heck. Go Brap, says Hans B. Yeah, very well done to Brap in 7th place. And my goodness, very well done to Colin Warwick and Jake Maloney. What a cracking battle right at the death that was. Looked like Kurt Stenberg getting right into the garage.
Are you going to get to the bathroom?
He's desperate for a wee before we hit the next qualifying session.
So Kurt Stenberg takes victory from Colin Warwick, but the story of the end of that race was the battle between Colin Warwick and Jake Maloney. So great pace from Colin Warwick to finish off that race. He had the better pace in the end by only about a 10th and a half, if you're looking at their best lap times. Good stuff. We're going to take a quick break and we'll bring you qualifying and the final race from Symmons Plains tonight.
Welcome backstage for the Automobilista Supercars Championship Bathurst 1000 stream, brought to you by Apex Rear Wing. This is just to give you a little look at our setup for the race today. So we've got our big main camera here, which is shooting our desk there. So that's when we're to camera, doing our little wrap-ups and stuff. That's where we're going to be. We've got these lovely green things, just sort of fake foliage to give us a bit of sound muffling, and also some very classy flamingo designs. We've got James behind the camera, currently filming me as I'm speaking. Over here, we've got Stairs, currently doing something very important before the stream begins. And indeed, he's got some gaffer tape, so we won't interrupt him. But if you just come over here, you can see the enormous setup that we have. We've got 4 monitors, one of which is a TV, on which you can see Maddie Dunlop and Josh Bagsy. Bagsy's currently completing a Rubik's Cube, so you can see we're intelligent and talented here at Apex Rear Wing. So we've got 3 keyboards. We have got 3 mice. We have got a switcher. We have got 4 monitors. We're going to have 3 computers running. If you just come down here really quick, you can see we've got 1 computer over here, and then we've got another one here, and then we've got a 3rd one over here. So lots and lots of technology back here. You know, the 21st century, isn't it? So, and then through this door over here, if you just have we probably don't need to go in there, but if you just pop over here, James,
and just have a sneaky peek through there, you'll be able to see that is our Kart FX bunker, where we've got Michael Zalavari doing some very important work on the whiteboard. So that's just a quick little brief look at the backstage here for the Automobilista Supercars Championship Bathurst 1000, and hope you've enjoyed.
Yeah, great memories there from last year's Bathurst 1000 for ASC, with a great little feature that you did. Very much looking forward to doing that again later this year.
Absolutely, and that should be in some new digs as well.
It will be. It will be a new studio for that one. We'll have to do a couple more features in this studio while we've still got it, so we can show the watchers how we bring you these broadcasts. But here is, once again, details of the racetrack, and we're actually going into qualifying for the final race.
We're actually almost a minute into it. Again, these are very, very short qualifying sessions. We've got 4 minutes left. That's some nice sky. Those are some nice tyres. These are some nice cars.
No time set yet, so we've got all but 3 cars on the track at the moment. In fact, Colin Warwick has just made his way onto the racetrack.
Still some very nice pictures of tyres on the other. Now they're gone.
So you didn't need to allude to that.
They were very...
Viewers can't see those.
Yeah, but I can see them, and they're very nice tyres.
So you're making something that's not a mistake seem like a mistake.
It wasn't a mistake.
I know it's not a mistake.
You're showing some fantastic tyres. Dane Liccardo on your screens. He's not a mistake.
Well, he might have been. I don't know. But he was very much a great source of entertainment for us in the second race. He with David Nenadic getting
unwilling
into
partner
heated
in crime.
Battles there.
So we've got a car just going a little bit wide to get out of the way. Good on him. I think that was one of the Kais.
A couple of purple sectors coming in. We've got Zach Baker on a fast one. Jake Maloney quick in the middle sector as well.
Who will manage to put it on pole position this time around? So we had Colin Warwick, then Kurt Stenberg. Who will take out the third one? At the moment, Jake Maloney with the fastest lap, a 51.4. That is about 3/10 slower than we saw from Kurt Stenberg last time around. Kurt Stenberg yet to set a lap.
Just starting his lap by the looks of it.
There we go.
Got a nice piece of track clear in front of him, it would appear. And let's see how the man who's won all of the races tonight and one pole position and 1 second place start. So very much the man to look towards.
Look at all the flames on the live timing. There's a lot of people setting hot laps.
Very much so. So these are going to change quickly. Colin Warwick up the pointy end once again. He's had a very, very good night. Zach Baker in 3rd place and Sean Allen in 4th. But we're very much expecting Kurt Stenberg to find his way somewhere up into there. Though he's not been purple through the 1st sector. He has, though, through the 2nd sector. And as you say that, Zach Baker goes to the top. Colin Warwick immediately displaces him, though. Zach Baker was on an exactly perfect lap time there for 51.400, but Colin Warwick gets displaced by Kurt Stenberg by 1/10 of a second, a 51.249. Great job there from Kurt Stenberg.
Used all of the track on the start-finish straight. He had his rear right tyre was just tickling the grass along the edge of the track, I reckon. 1/10 of a second there between himself and Colin Warwick in 2nd place. But I reckon Colin Warwick still has a bit of pace in him, as does Jake Maloney, as we know. Jake Maloney is, of course, 2nd on the grid last race. Here is Colin Warwick.
Looks like he's on an outlap by the looks of it. Michael Zalavari saying, wait, we've got a new studio coming. Yes, we will be moving on from our old faithful. Blackwood has been very good to us. We've been here for nearly 5 years, and it's been a great house. But, we will be moving on.
Goodness. Of course, yeah, you've been here for the length of mine and Mel's relationship, because we helped you
slightly
put the stuff
before,
put the stuff into storage units.
Colin Warwick going a little bit deep there. I don't think he's quite got the pace to displace Kurt Stenberg, who himself isn't quite on a PB time.
Zach Baker doing good to be up into 3rd place. Alongside Jake Maloney. Only 30 seconds left in this qualifying session. As we keep saying, they're very, very short qualifying sessions.
No purple sectors coming through at the moment. Colin Warwick, I don't think he's going to have the pace.
Oh,
huge
Dane
crash in the
Liccardo.
fourth round. Oh my goodness! Looks like
Oh,
Dane
no!
Liccardo must have got into an accident there.
No. And it has absolutely ruined Colin Warwick's chance.
Well, that was
to
the end of his lap.
Set another, yeah, but if he had enough fuel to set another lap time, he has no chance to do it now. See if we can get a replay of that. Kurt Stenberg has also given up on his lap as a result. So someone else span originally, and then looks like Dane Liccardo almost span in sympathy.
Yeah, so we're gonna catch a replay. So this was the static camera at the end of turn 1, and just kept his foot in it, did Brendan Dostal. Spun off the track there and reversed kind of onto the track. Yep, and the same thing actually. It was just a coincidence really that happened. And then
Colin Warwick straight
the
into
rest
Dane
of it we saw
Liccardo.
there. So all of these guys kind of in the way. There were seconds remaining in the qualifying session, so these guys could have been starting laps, and so they got themselves completely in the way. So they might not be the most popular guys on the server right now. But as it stands, Kurt Stenberg surprising no one with a pole position. Jake Maloney starts alongside him to make it Trans-Tasman front row. Colin Warwick in third and Zach Baker in fourth. So the form guide, the form book really sort of going the same way. Third verse same as the first and the second verse. You might even call it a chorus.
Colin Warwick losing that second position to Jake Maloney in the dying stages of that qualifying session. And Zach Baker getting pushed down to fourth place, but still a decent starting position for himself on the second row. Colin Warwick, not a great starter so far, so see who can get some positions off the line.
Just a quick reminder of the championship calendar for ASC in 2021. Now, some of these dates have moved around because of the COVID pandemic. Today is the 20th, so we're 1 week delayed for the Tasmania Super Sprint. But as far as it goes, the rest of those dates are still accurate, unless, of course, we have more border closures due to the pandemic. So keep an eye on that. Generally speaking, the races will happen on the Tuesday following the real-life round, so that can be your rule of thumb. Put this one in your calendars, though. Bathurst 1000, October 23 to 24. That is going to be an absolute cracker.
Isn't it just? We always have a lot of fun putting that one on. Lots of preparation and a full race commentary with a group of rotating commentators. It is always an absolute blast, is that one. And hopefully we'll be able to get a couple of our co-commentators into the state by October.
That'll be good.
Rather than having to have them be remote, as Bagsy and Matty Dunlop were on the previous occasion. Suppose we'll see what happens by then, but you know, I reckon we can cross our fingers. And once again, time has skipped forward into dusk for the warm-up.
I wonder if there's any reason for this, or if it's just, as we talked about, perhaps a glitch. Maybe they don't want anyone getting any meaningful practice in during the warm-up session.
Maybe, yeah.
The track looks completely different. It's probably not as beneficial to look at brake markers and stuff when they're dark.
I certainly remember many a time in our Apex Rear Wing series practicing at a certain time of day, not realizing that the race was going to happen at a completely different time of day, and all of my brake markers were shadows of trees or
poor choice
signs. Yeah, in hindsight, a poor choice, but nevertheless, I continued to do it and continued to have the same problem.
Well, you know what they say. If you don't learn from personal experience, then you were doomed to make the same mistakes over and over and over again.
Is that the quote?
Yeah. It's 2021.
The man repeating the same thing, expecting a different result is insanity.
That's another quote by someone with a little bit more acclaim than myself.
Who has more acclaim than yourself?
Almost everyone.
Do they do MotoGP here?
No.
Or something?
Phillip Island is the MotoGP circuit.
There are bike slots on the grid, is the only...
That's true. They might do some form of Australian Superbikes or something, but I'm not actually that familiar with the sort of local motorbike racing series. Perhaps someone in the comments could enlighten us.
I've been watching MotoGP this year.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
I haven't actually caught up with what happened in the last race, so no spoilers, please.
I haven't watched the last race, but I watched both Doha.
and
races.
Doha.
Yes.
Yes, or
That's
Qatar
what,
and
that's
Doha,
what I'm saying.
which is the same thing.
Both Doha races.
It's weird because I forgot that Doha was the city because I've just always thought of that as being the Qatar track.
Like how Abu Dhabi is a city, but you just associate it with being a track.
Yeah. Abu Ghraib.
Dudes, watch Portimao. All 3 classes were incredible, says Michael Zalavari. So
Catch up. It's hard. Having a life is difficult.
whoa.
I still need to see the. I still need to catch
Humble
up.
brag.
You're in the same boat.
Yeah, very true.
IndyCar race on the weekend that I haven't caught up with yet either. So.
Halfway through the Rolex 24
I'm not
of
watching
Daytona.
that. I mean, I love endurance racing, but I don't have the time.
I just put it on in the background while I do
Last
other
year,
things.
when we didn't have any racing for about 4 months, and then we caught it all up in the last half of the year, I just had to not watch some of the series because I was so busy doing other things that I had sort of had to prioritize what racing I followed.
Nah, sleepers for the week. MotoGP was on the weekend, says Michael Zalavari. And of course, we've got Portimao for Formula One.
I was on a
couple
plane
of weeks'
when
time.
the MotoGP was on.
Yeah. Did you ever finish watching that Japanese
I did.
hijacking video?
Yeah, and then I got to the end, and there was the guy said there was a part 2, but it hadn't been,
It hasn't been uploaded yet.
done yet. So yeah,
Gutting.
but definitely worth a watch. That.
The idea that they faked a North Korean airport, just so whimsical to me. I love it.
But the idea that hijacking a plane was not illegal in the
It wasn't
70s.
considered against the law. My goodness.
For the benefit of our listeners who don't know what we're talking about, do you want to enlighten them?
There is a video, there's a great animated video called the hijacking of Japan Airlines flight, and then it's a
channel
number.
called Kento Bento.
Kento Bento, who does interesting Asian-focused animated doco-style videos.
It's like sort of Manga meets Wendover Productions or something like that.
Kind of. He also uses Wendover's Nebula service, so he must be
Yeah, so
getting
you're familiar with those sort of Curiosity Stream type channels, but we've got a grid for you to go through.
Don't we just? We've got Kurt Stenberg and, what's his name? Jake Maloney, the 2 Trans-Tasman guys, blocking out the front row once again. Colin Warwick behind them with Zach Baker in 4th place. He'll be happy with a 2nd row start. Sean Allen in 5th with Benjamin Dahlia, who's been performing quite well. Had a very poor race last time around with some accidents, so hoping for a better time this time around.
That was a good quality session for him.
RSM Latino in 7th. I almost thought he was another race on Oscar. It looks sort of similar. Behind him in 8th place, we've got Brody Steen. Once again out qualified by the sister team with Alex Cattle right behind him. Dane Liccardo nearly running up the back of Alex Cattle on the warm-up lap. We've got Steve Warwick, father of Colin Warwick, in 11th place. In 12th, we have got Brap, who had a very good...
Steve Warwick, sorry, cut across you there.
No, absolutely. I agree with you. Very good race last time out for Brap, ending in 7th. See if he can match that. David Edich with another poor qualifying session, so I'm not sure if he just didn't manage to get a lap together. In 14th place, we have Kai Jones with Brandon Dostal and the other Kai, Ardley, in 16th place. So we've lost one runner out of, I believe it was Stenny, father of Kurt Stenberg.
Must have needed to go to bed.
It's pretty late in Perth. I don't think that's the case at all. God bless you, my good friend.
Thank you. 3rd time tonight and final time
Third
tonight.
time's a charm, and the first 2 have been crackers. So
They absolutely have.
So by that logic, this is going to be an absolute blinder, Stairs.
Can't wait.
Armour all of your loins for that sneeze.
Final cars have gridded up and we're about to go racing once more here at Simmons Plains Raceway. In the Automobilista Supercars Championship, we are racing. Good start there from the 2 at the front. It is going to be a side-by-side battle. Kurt Stenberg is looking to hold on to the lead. Jake Maloney is looking to get past. And as they started with Colin Warwick, a watching brief side-by-side action between the Race on Oz and ZB guys. It looks like Sean Allen ahead in that one. Then Jake Maloney going down the inside of Kurt Stenberg.
Yeah, looking to make the position early. Doesn't want Kurt Stenberg to get into a groove, although Colin Warwick is now bump drafting him. Came out right behind him from the hairpin, so they are bump drafting down this long curving straight. and it looked as if Kai Jones just did not get off the line. He did not start moving until the entire rest of the field had moved, and he is about 5 seconds off the back of the pace. As we saw, I just saw on our other screen some contact between Dane Liccardo, surprise, surprise, and another car.
Oh my God.
And that is an absolute gaggle, is the only word for it.
That is a gaggle.
As they come
looking at a
through
gaggle.
to finish the first lap. RSM Latino and Brody Steen knocking doors as well.
Oh, someone going wide in the back of that shot as well. So,
My
goodness, Simmons Plains, we need wider camera angles, don't we?
We do indeed. As we see Dane Liccardo trying to look down the inside, but RSM Latino covers that well off. Goes down the inside of Brody Steen, who does not fight the position overly harshly, but still manages to come out side by side.
Replay of the start, looking at the back to show you what you were talking about a few moments ago, Madbird. That was bizarre.
Yes.
There they go. We better catch it. Wait up, guys. Wait up, guys.
It's like he was on a delay, like he had, a couple of seconds lag.
Well, maybe someone was talking to him. It's very easy to get distracted in this day and age with all of the whimsical features that our mobile telephone devices have on them.
Absolutely.
With the Instagram and all those sorts of things.
You're the oldest young person I know, and I love you for it. So Dane Liccardo up into 9th place.
I'm glad you just call me a young person. That's nice.
Well, in comparison to some people, probably. I wonder what the median age is. Oh, as we see Dane Liccardo hit RSM Latino
well,
ever so slightly.
The median age, if you count all of the people in the world who have died, is a lot higher than my age.
I wasn't going to include the people who are dead.
Wouldn't you?
No.
Oh, here we go. Brapp is going side by side with Kai Ardley through turn 5, so that's very, very close indeed. Kai Ardley looking like he's going to make that move up the inside of turn 6, so two guys we haven't seen much of tonight. Good racing going on there. Meanwhile, back at the front, it is an absolute ding-dong battle for first, second and third, with Kurt Stenberg only 0.2 of a second ahead of Jake Maloney. Colin Warwick, though, he's got the pace as well. The fastest lap was set by Jake Maloney on the previous lap, but Colin Warwick had the fastest middle sector. So they all have pace to burn in different parts of the racetrack. And look at them all going through that hairpin.
They're like a bundle of cats, all just clawing away and thrashing around. They're very close together, with Sean Allen and teammate Benjamin Dahlia, Zach Baker, not too far behind as well if these guys make a mistake. Jake Maloney going down the inside of Kurt Stenberg at turn 6, and he bowls him just a little bit wide, pushes his way through. That was a tiny bit rude, but all fair. Rubbing is racing. Colin Warwick now down the inside of Kurt Stenberg. Oh, he's not going to get it done. He's not going to get it done, or is he? He's going to go down the inside as they come onto this straight down to the hairpin, but it looks like he's going to have to settle for third at the moment.
Colin Warwick just did Jake Maloney a huge favour there by knocking into the back of Colin Warwick. Look at all the cars behind them that they've got fighting over there. Kurt Stenberg goes wide at the hairpin, but gets the good drive. A good launch there. Sean Allen behind Colin Warwick trying to take advantage, but they all stretch out on the exit of the hairpin again. And in fact, Jake Maloney has been reeled in by 1 or 2 car lengths. It's still a decent gap he's got.
And it's pretty hard to overtake around here, it appears, so far. Unless the driver makes a mistake or goes a bit wide, it is difficult to get close enough at the places where it's easy to make the overtake. So the hairpin, you can often get side by side through there, but then it's very hard to actually affect the overtake because there's so many different lines you can take through there.
Kurt Stenberg has caught right back up there through the final sector there. He was a couple of tenths. In fact, the middle sector on the previous lap, Kurt Stenberg was a man possessed after getting knocked by Colin Warwick and ended up 4 tenths faster than Jake Maloney in the middle sector of that lap. And look how much he's closed up under braking in the hairpin.
He is not quite bump drafting, but it's bloody close as they head on down towards turn 6. Jake Maloney's on the outside as they come into the last couple of corners. Kurt Stenberg brakes a bit later. Down the inside he goes. Jake Maloney is going to try to swap it up the inside, but I don't think he's going to have enough drive. Great view from Colin Warwick's seat. Jake Maloney gets a swapper on, manages to hold on to it. Very well done, but that is going to put paid to that first place for now. He has not lost too much time, and my goodness, these guys seem like they are on the absolute ragged edge.
Yeah, so Kurt Stenberg just completely in a class of his own tonight. The pace that he has shown after losing that spot to Jake Maloney, just immediately gets it back. As, they all get into each other just a little bit there. I think that might have been Colin Warwick having a bit of contact with Jake Maloney, and Sean Allen bowled it wide coming into there as well.
Into there. It looks like it's quite close between Sean Allen and his teammate Benjamin Dahlia. They're really not too far behind this threesome. As we watch Colin Warwick a little bit wide, a little bit of a tap, and then that pushed Jake Maloney into Kurt Stenberg. So not too much, and they continue on. Just for those playing at home, 37.5 was the 2020 median age in Australia. So
that's not too far away.
See, we're both younger than that at the moment. 7 years feels like a long time away. Won't be, as Jake Maloney looks at the inside of Kurt Stenberg, decides against it, and then decides, no, actually, I am going to have a go at this, but does not manage to come out of it with any biscuits. Colin Warwick is right on his tail, though. He lost a bit of time to Colin Warwick through that hairpin. And Sean Allen really hanging in there as well. If these guys have a major accident of any description, then he is right in it with a chance to get a podium spot.
Kai Jones has retired from the race, presumably as a result of intense disappointment after missing the start of the race.
Starting the race about 4 seconds after everybody else.
That's a shame.
Very aggressive defending from Kurt Stenberg.
Yeah, he hasn't really been allowed to get on with it and disappear up the road like I thought he might, given the pace that he showed, but maybe he's just making his tyres last a little bit longer. But we've got Jake Maloney trying up the inside. But Kurt Stenberg again, he's going to try that high line around the outside of the hairpin. Oh, and he gets muscled out of the way by his teammate Jake Maloney. That was a little bit rude.
That was very rude, and that has given Colin Warwick a bit of a look as well. He's going to try to slip around the outside. Kurt Stenberg tries to poke himself back in between himself and Jake Maloney, but is unable to. Great view from Sean Allen. Oh my goodness, that laugh, as it looks like Jake Maloney has managed to hold on to that lead, but Kurt Stenberg looking to go down the inside.
Look at
Colin
that.
Warwick gets out of there.
Good job,
Straight
Colin
into
Warwick.
the pits. And it looks like Jake Maloney's hung on to that lead for now. Sean Allen right on the back of these two.
So a huge moment in this race, Colin Warwick electing to make his pit stop. That is going to have a huge bearing on the way that this battle
Kurt Stenberg into the lead.
just places out. So yeah, Kurt Stenberg has managed to get that place back. Have we got time for a replay? I think we will just catch that one again. So was that a mistake from Jake Maloney? I think he went out just a little bit wide. We saw a similar move from, I can't remember who, in the first race.
Sean Allen, I think,
and
on Colin Warwick.
Yeah, Kurt Stenberg did well to take advantage of that. We are now looking at the picture-in-picture of Colin Warwick making his way back out of the pit lane, and that is going to be a very, very important moment in this race when these two make their pit stop.
Benjamin Dahlia dives in. But that really wasn't much of a mistake from Jake Maloney. Very well done for Kurt Stenberg capitalising on it and getting that position back. Very important.
I was just about to say how it's kind of an early pit stop, but it's not. We're already 11 laps.
The race.
We're in the sort of median lap of the race.
Yeah, it goes quick. As we've been saying all night, this is a very short racetrack. These races are quite short as a result. And God, this is a very close battle. This is going to be interesting with the pit stops to see how it works out.
Let's have a look at the gap. Colin Warwick has 34 seconds. Remember, Jake Maloney had 36 seconds and it was mighty, mighty close.
Yeah.
So I think Colin Warwick is in the box seat right now. He's got the clean air. Having said that, so too does Kurt Stenberg. And he's a little bit wide there. They had to sort of play a little bit of opposite lock there going into that penultimate corner, and that's put Jake Maloney right on his tail again. As these two battle each other, it's costing them time.
You say that, yeah, I was about to say, you say that Kurt Stenberg's got clean air, but he does have clean air, but he can't really pay any attention to it because he's too busy looking in his mirrors for his teammate, who is all over his rear bumper. And so last time around, they were a 52.4 and a 52.1. Colin Warwick was a... Oh, that isn't representative. That was as he was on his outlap.
Got any sector times?
Don't have any sector times as yet. 18.0. Yeah, so much quicker through the first sector was Colin Warwick.
Fastest lap of the race. Colin Warwick. Wow, this is going to wake them up. 51.6. And yeah, as you said, 50 seconds. Almost a second faster. That's 0.8 that Colin Warwick has taken out of them. That is enough to put him into the lead if they pit now. So this is a huge moment in this race. assuming Colin Warwick can continue at that kind of pace.
These guys are continuing on. They don't want to blink. Neither Kurt Stenberg, Jake Maloney, nor Sean Allen, all three continuing on. With Dane Liccardo actually inheriting 4th place at the moment. Also running late, as he has the last couple of races as well.
They need to hope Colin Warwick gets traffic. That's what they'll be hoping happens right now.
He is coming up to the back of Brandon Dostal, I should say. And he is going a little bit slowly. He does get out.
Oh! What are you doing?
That was... I cannot see how that could possibly be construed as Colin Warwick's fault.
No, I mean, it looked like...
he was letting him through.
It looks like Dostal was looking through on the inside, and then he just...
dove back onto the racing line.
Wow.
And... whoop.
Won't be a popular man with Colin Warwick right now.
No, he will not.
But he's got a fair bit of clear track now, Colin Warwick, after that. So if he can put that behind him and just get on with his race, then that will hopefully not cost him too much time. Let's have a look at the times. So Colin Warwick on that previous
up
one.
in 5th.
Yeah, couldn't see him for a moment there.
51.6 was the previous lap.
We haven't seen. Well, I guess we'll see once he crosses the line for the next time how much that cost him overall.
Well, the gap from himself to Kurt Stenberg has dropped down to 31.8 seconds. So it was about 34 seconds, I believe you said.
He's purple in the final sector, Colin Warwick. 51.7 compared to Kurt Stenberg, 52.1. So it cost about half a second to Colin Warwick that moment. Oh! And Kurt Stenberg has to overtake a car in the pits, and Jake Maloney as well, somehow. Oh, those guys were taking no chance,
They weren't giving Brandon Dostal the opportunity to hold them up in the pits.
Now, are both the TTR cars going to be able to take service at the same time here?
That's a good point, actually.
It'll be very interesting. No, they do have their own pit boxes by the looks of
Sean Allen also pitting, so the 3 leaders having come into the pits. Colin Warwick coming around turn 6, as you can see there in the picture-in-picture. And then around turn 7.
Kurt's on his way. Jake Maloney's been a bit slower to get going. But Colin Warwick has just set another fastest lap of 51.5, and he's through.
Into the lead.
He's going to lead by seconds. Jake Maloney has a drive-through penalty. That's going to take him completely out of contention, and Kurt Stenberg rejoins only just in front of Zach Baker.
That is mighty close. He cut across the front of Zach Baker, and that was almost an accident. Colin Warwick with a 3-second lead, it must be said, 3.8 seconds even, over the former leader Kurt Stenberg. An absolute masterclass from Colin Warwick.
So that's interesting because Jake Maloney lost 2 spots in that. He's going to have the drive-through anyway. Incredible.
But he came out behind Sean Allen as well.
But the interesting thing now is Kurt Stenberg has tyres that are quite a bit younger, 4 laps younger than Colin Warwick's tyres. So we'll see what kind of pace he sets about achieving now. I just want to catch a replay of this. This is Kurt Stenberg's entry into the pit lane. And in fact, the car that he was trying to pass, that car was Brandon Dostal. And he,
I reckon
he was recovering from an off. He was on the grass.
I reckon that's where Jake Maloney's gotten his speeding penalty, because you could see how close Kurt Stenberg was to crossing the line then when he got it slowed down.
Jake Maloney, who's currently in 12th place, unfortunately, having served that drive-through.
Jake Maloney was had a lot more closing speed as he came into the pits behind Kurt Stenberg.
This is the replay of Jake Maloney, and look at that. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's where he's gotten it.
He was on the anchors, but he might just have been still going over the speed limit.
But they both had to squeeze in ahead of Brandon Dostal. That was mighty. That was very little space. Kurt Stenberg sets the fastest lap of the race.
Brandon Dostal affecting all of the guys leading, vying for the lead of the race there with the moment he had with Colin Warwick moments before that.
They say if you can't be the king, be the kingmaker, and he is perhaps playing that role at the moment. Colin Warwick currently the king, 3 seconds clear of Kurt Stenberg, but with that last fastest lap from Kurt Stenberg,
half a second
start closing down.
So half a second quicker. There's 5 laps left in the race though. He'll be right on him at the end of the race, Kurt Stenberg, at the pace that he's got at the moment.
If this pace continues.
Remembering that Colin Warwick has older tyres, but it's not like he pitted super early. He pitted at the halfway point, so he should quite easily get to the end of the race on the tyres.
Well, I mean, they pit even earlier than that in the first race, and they still seem fine towards the end. It's just that Kurt Stenberg will obviously have a bit more pace than Colin Warwick in this last sector of the race, but there's only 4 laps left, so if he's going to make...
Oh, that's deep. That's going to be a costly moment. Under pressure. Unforced error.
Yeah, very much so. 2 seconds now the gap, so that's dropped by a second.
There we go. So he's going to have to defend for a lap or two if he does that kind of thing. There is Kurt Stenberg in the back of shot. Well, in the front of shot, because that is the shot we are looking at. Say shot again, Alistair.
Jake Maloney's penalty has promoted Zach Baker up into the podium positions, which he will be happy with.
Well, he was ahead of Maloney anyway, because he only just came out
behind Kurt
Stenberg. So Jake Maloney was behind Zach Baker and Benjamin Dahlia, I believe. So
another fastest lap for Kurt Stenberg. Sorry to cut across you.
He had a slightly longer pit stop than Kurt Stenberg, even though we saw that he was right on the back of Kurt's bumper when he came into the pit lane by virtue of that crazy pit entry.
Last lap for Colin Warwick was a 52.5. Last lap for Kurt Stenberg was a 51.3. Yeah. So over a second.
0.8 of a second.
In that previous lap.
0.8 of a second, so it is, well, let's have a look at the gap from Kurt Stenberg's point of view. 3 laps to go after this one.
It is very much one thing to catch up and another thing to overtake around here, though, as we've seen. And it usually takes a pretty ballsy attempt through turn 6 and 7. But he is already clawing back. He is up to half a second now behind Colin Warwick.
Colin has never won a race on his own in Automobilista Supercars Championship. He has won the Bathurst 1000, but not a single driver event, as he gets it all crossed up coming in. And it was a sort of an awkward moment there, as Kurt Stenberg was also going a little bit deep. Couldn't take advantage, but he's got a huge run coming through turn 5, and it's impossible to believe that he's not going to have a go at the end of this lap. Down into turn 6, there is overlap. Kurt Stenberg is going to try diving down the inside here. Colin Warwick gives him the room. Side by side they go, and Kurt Stenberg has taken the lead and aims to make it 3 from 3 here in Tasmania. So Colin Warwick has got it all to do if he wants to get that back, but he has much older tyres.
He does, yeah. They just looked like he was he just was unable to get it pulled up in time for the hairpin, and he's already 6/10 behind. Not even a lap after being overtaken. So this is looking less and less likely for Colin Warwick, unless Kurt Stenberg has an error like he just did. But it looked like Colin Warwick was doing all he could to put the anchors on as well. And
yeah, they struggle into that corner. They've done that. They've struggled locking the brakes up there all night.
Yeah.
I mean, I kind of wanted to see it work out for Colin, because he pulled a master stroke strategically, and it's still working out for him, because Jake Maloney's fallen out of this battle. He's going to end up second, a different kind of second to the second that he got in race number 2, where he snatched it from Jake Maloney right at the death. Here he's had first snatched away from him, and if he can keep it on the road ahead of Zach Baker, he'll make it 2 second places in 2 races, and I'm sure he'll be the first to tell you he's an absolute ball tonight. He tends to say those sorts of things in his interviews post-race.
He does. 1.5 seconds now the gap, so that is, unless barring a mistake from Kurt Stenberg on this, the last lap of the race, going through the last 2 corners, then that the positions will remain as they are. So we've got Kurt Stenberg coming through the last couple of laps. Last couple of corners even, thank you. Coming around turn 7 now to cross the line, gets a little bit of a wiggle going, and makes it 3 from 3 here at Symmons Plains.
Wow.
3 wins from 3 races. Colin Warwick makes it 2 podiums from 3 races, and Zach Baker as well with his 3rd place makes it 2 podiums from 3 races. Benjamin Dahlia with an incredible result in 4th place. Very well done. Outperforming both the main Race on Oz drivers, Brody Steen and RSM Latino, and Sean Allen.
Didn't see what happened to Sean Allen. He's finished behind Brody Steen. He's normally ahead of him. Dane Liccardo had a quiet race compared to race 2, up 2 spots from where he started. That's a good job there from Dane Liccardo. Steve Warwick up 3 spots inside the top 10. I think he'll be chuffed with that.
Very well done.
And David Nenadic finishes 10th, so he's done well considering where he qualified. You can see on the screen there he was up 4 spots, so we didn't see too much of him. It means he had a decent race. Jake Maloney recovered to 11th after making that drive-through penalty. He was fighting in the podium spots. Then we had Brapp in 12th place. Kai Ardley up 5 spots to finish 13th, so a good job there. Brendan Dostal, well, he was famous in this race for all the wrong reasons, just kind of is slightly in the way for all the wrong times for those guys who were battling. And I don't really think it impacted the result of the race too much, though. It probably would have ended up that way. And then it was Alex Cattle in 15th place. He was the first DNF, and Kai Jones, after missing the start, was the other DNF, 16th place. But the man of the moment, Kurt Stenberg, he's going to continue to extend his championship lead.
Yeah, so that number 1, obviously very, very unlucky for him, judging by his results ever since he ditched it. It also helps that that his main antagonists, the Warren brothers, have not been appearing, but Kurt Stenberg's nevertheless had some pretty stiff competition in Jake Maloney and Colin Warwick tonight, and he's managed to face all comers and take the biscuits on each occasion.
What a splendid night of racing that was.
Absolutely. It's always entertaining around here. It's such a short lap, really not too much space around it, and there's always some drama. So that was all very, very, very enjoyable.
Favourite moment of the race, the racing tonight, man?
The battle, Colin Warwick and Jake Maloney, the last couple of laps of race 2, was an absolute cracker. Fantastic attacking from Colin Warwick to get that position back right at the death. Yeah, just some excellent racecraft all around. Yourself, Stairs?
I'd have to say I really enjoyed Colin Warwick's strategic throw of the dice there in the last race. It was a good battle there. He got himself into it, and then he used that to perform the undercut.
Yeah.
And I love a good strategy battle. But then what that did was it set us up for a pass on track for the lead, which is always good to see as well.
Absolutely.
So we're just waiting to see a few of the drivers dropping down into the commentary box to have a bit of a chat. And, Madbird, do you want to have a chat to the man of the hour?
I can have a chat to the man of the hour, Kurt Stenberg. 3 wins from 3 races here at Symmons Plains. You must be pretty bloody chuffed with yourself.
Yeah, mate. I don't know how much more. Our only blemish was we were having some internet issues in first qualifying and didn't quite get pole, but outside of that, outstanding night. We seem to have better tyre life than everybody else and also have better car speed, so can't really argue with that.
And so fantastic racing from yourself. Were the tyre life really as bad as they appeared out there? You seem to be pretty comfortable, but especially towards the end of that third race when Colin was on older tyres than yourself, he seemed to really be struggling.
Yeah, I don't know. They were quite bad if you sort of went a bit too hard on them, but I don't know. I drove the wheels off it a few times there, and it didn't really go too badly for me. So I reckon I had a pretty good setup under me. But yeah, I don't know. As you saw, I went pretty long in 2 of the races, and tyres, as long as you didn't abuse them too much at the start, they weren't too bad. So, but yeah, if you get a big slide going, they were gone. So it's very hard to gain them back with the fact that the right rear just gets worn at every single corner around this place.
It was good as well to see teammate Jake Maloney actually doing some qualifying and up there battling with you in race number 3. Some decent battling there with Jake.
Yeah, it was good to have him race and actually qualify and actually be fast. I thought he'd be quite competitive if he turned up here tonight, and that was the case. So he kind of didn't have the pace of me, but he was able to stay with me in the draft. And when I was trying to look after my tyres, he took the opportunity after I made a couple of mistakes to throw it up there. But yeah, I got back at him, and then yeah, I think he got caught out by the back marker in the pit lane like I did in the third one.
Yeah, we saw that Brandon Dostal sort of parking it at the pit entry, and both of you pushing it about as close to the line as you possibly could before slowing down. So Well done to yourself. Not so much well done to Jake, who we think was a few Ks over as he crossed that line.
Yeah, I thought I was going as well, to be honest, because I was sliding on the grass, but I got lucky because I knew I was going to lose time to Cole, and I needed to make as much as possible on the entry because I didn't think I was going to catch him, but yeah, I did. So that's racing.
A fantastic rundown and great overtake on track as well for race number 3. Very well done. 3 from 3, Kurt.
Yep, 3 from 3 and 3 last round as well. So we're on a roll of 6. We've won 7 of the 8, I'm pretty sure. So can't really complain. Onwards to the Bend and Winton, which are both not very good tracks of mine. So hopefully we can change that, but I don't know. So I think my streak is about to come to an end.
We'll have to see next time, but congratulations from tonight. Very well done.
No worries. Thanks, guys.
And Stairs, I reckon you have got Colin Warwick, son of Steve Warwick.
Yeah, Colin, you had an absolutely cracking night of racing. If it wasn't for mistaken race 1, you would have been on the podium in all 3 races. But great night all round for yourself.
Yeah, no, it was a pretty good night considering this is, probably not one of my best tracks that I can race at. So, yeah, no, not too bad tonight.
Bit of a throw on the dice at the final race there, getting out of that battle and pitting early. It gave you the lead of the race, gave you a chance.
Yeah, well, as you probably saw, I was struggling with tyre life. I've got no idea why. But yeah, in that last race, I just wanted to get out and just try and get a gap and see if I can maintain it. And yeah, didn't work out.
Yeah, good job for having a go. A little bit of a moment with a back marker we saw. We were on board at the time.
Yeah, that was quite scary considering I braked probably 200 metres later than what he did. So, yeah, nothing you can do there.
Yeah, absolutely. Just unlucky to be at that moment where you were pushing to build that gap.
Yeah, exactly. It didn't really cost me that much. There was just a couple of laps when I was doing quali spec laps there to try and build the gap where I made a couple of errors myself. So, yeah, on to the next round, which will be good. I did quite well there at the Bend last year, so hopefully I can do it again.
Absolutely. Congratulations on a good night of racing for yourself there, solidifying your position in the championship, Colin. Madbird, I think you've got Jake Maloney with you.
Oh, the always mercurial Jake Maloney decided to qualify tonight and had some decent pace by the looks of it. So how did you find your night, Jake?
Yeah, it was an interesting night. I was pretty quick in pretty much everywhere except the hairpin. I was awful in the hairpin, and it was just costing me runs and onto the straight. But it was a good night of racing with Colin and Stenny, and that sort of last race I just thought 5 wins in a row for Stenny. I'll have a real go here and put a show on for the fans, and put a few big dives on. Probably fed Stenny a bit too much of a door for a teammate, but it was all in good fun.
You didn't send him into the wall, so that's sort of the important thing. It did look like
anyway.
It did look like a good battle between yourselves, and then as Kurt said, diving into the pits and coming a cropper of Brandon Dostal, who was compared to you guys almost stationary. Just unfortunately was a little bit over the speed limit crossing that line.
Yeah, once I got on that grass, probably didn't quite brake as well as I was expecting it to, so yeah, just a little bit over, but that was good fun night of racing.
Excellent, yeah, and some decent results for you with a couple of podium positions, so very well done tonight, Jake.
Thanks for the broadcast.
As always, yeah, thanks.
Thanks, guys. Really appreciate it, and always good to talk to the podium sitters. So, Madbird, that was a terrific night of racing. Tasmania never ceases to disappoint. Never ceases to impress. Never fails to disappoint. I mixed my idioms there.
Never fails to disappoint is also not what you mean to say.
What am I trying to say?
It never disappoints.
It never disappoints.
My goodness.
Never fails to not disappoint. Goodness gracious me.
Oh my god.
I've spun in front of a back.
However, next time out we are going to the Bend, which is a track we're usually quite critical of, but I think last time we were there, it was actually pretty enjoyable.
Yeah,
So-
I mean, that was a racetrack that ceased to disappoint after the first race. I think it was a little bit slow the first time we went to that track, but certainly the last time was a lot better. So we'll be looking forward to that. I also enjoy Winton as well. So with Winton and the Bend, I enjoy it from a spectator's point of view. I think it can be difficult for some of the drivers to enjoy it given the nature of it, but some good racing coming up. Very, very, very different racetracks to the one we've
Very
just
different.
been at. Simmons Plains, a simple racetrack that tends to deliver. That's probably the word I was looking for instead of
A
disappoint.
simple track that delivers complicated races. Some very interesting strategies and lead changes and stuff tonight. It was fantastic watching.
All right, well, we're going to leave it there. Thank you very much indeed for watching, everyone. I've been Stez.
I've been Madbird.
Bye for now.
See you later.